What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Welcome everybody to the Awakening World, and I am Scott Gatamas, Love Coach Scott Gatamas, and unfortunately our live stream didn't go through to Facebook for some reason. This hasn't happened in over a year, and so I'm going to need to kind of deal with that a little bit. And so we have an amazing show, and because I've got to deal with that, and I'm the only person who can deal with it, instead of kind of going right into the introductions, I'm going to introduce my co-pilot, my co-host, and I'm going to actually ask Sharif to take over the throttle for a moment while I get us going on Facebook. This is our co-host for the entire weekend, Dr. Shariff Abdullah. And Sharif, please take it away, and I'll come back and introduce the rest of our presenters and Nina with our music in a little bit. But hopefully I can get us going on Facebook. Take it away, Sharif.
It's real. Well, number one, thank you. It's really amazing for those of you who have actually hosted Zoom calls or Zoom webinars or live feeds or anything like that. All the technology that has to happen in the background. And for most of the ones that I do, I don't have any in the background to say, "Oh, you take it over now." So thank you, Scott. And I want us to keep a focus on that largest question. And for me, the largest question is, how do we actually create a world that works for all living beings? How do we go back and start correcting 500 years of history embedded in the DNA of all of us? How do we go about doing that in such a way that we can elevate ourselves, get past all of the problems, and get us into the focus of where we can be as human beings? A number of thinkers have talked about humanity being in its adolescence right now. And the fact that we've got wars going on, still going on our planet, means that we have yet to start acting like one species. When people talk about, are there space aliens out there and why haven't we seen any of them? My question is, why would they want to come to this planet where there's this species that spends the majority of its time warring and killing on each other, the majority of its time separating from each other, the majority of its time looking at each other as though you're not part of my species? I mentioned this yesterday on our program. I've got a document written back in the 1800s, and the document was written by someone from England. And the document was asking the question of whether people in Eastern Europe were actually human beings, whether people from Eastern Europe were actually could have consciousness, could be educated, etc. All the things they say that people in the 1800s were saying about Black people, they were also saying about themselves. And so the challenge is, how do we elevate that consciousness? Okay, how do we elevate it to the point that we actually can create a world that works for all living beings? That's my goal. That's my personal motto, and you know, because I'm wearing it right here. And I think that should be the motto and the goal for all of us. If it is, then we will be focusing in a particular direction. And if it's not, why are we bothering doing any of this work? So I see Scott is back, which probably means that back fresh from Technoland.
Yes.
And ready to go into the next part here.
Yeah, and thank you, Dr. Sharif, for getting us off to that start. And that is the question. You know, this is the awakening world. That's our series. And every week we tackle and explore these topics and these themes. And I think this week's theme is as important as any one. And how interesting, we scheduled this 2 months ago, and how interesting that we are looking at this topic the same week that the world went back, that such a significant war has taken place. I want to welcome everybody who is watching on the Facebook channels. I want to welcome our friends watching on Unify. And I want to welcome all the people watching on the different Facebook groups and pages through the Sign Network. And a big thank you to John and Summer Raymer. We're actually going to hear from John later tonight. We're going to have a very special after show dedicated to prayers for peace. So thank you, John and Summer and the Sign Network. And if any of you are watching on Facebook or on Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel or our YouTube channel, come on into the Zoom room. We're going to have a very interactive show. I've invited some of the people that I have the highest respect for when it comes to this topic to be with us. And each one is going to make a presentation, but then we're going to have a roundtable conversation at the end. And we're going to take questions and answers. And also, by being in our Zoom room, you can interact directly and chat easily with our presenters. So I really want to invite anybody who is watching on Facebook or YouTube, come on in. It's easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register, and you'll immediately get the links, not just for tonight's show, but for all of our shows, because we're on Friday nights, Saturday nights, and Sunday mornings. So please do join us. I'm going to very briefly just spotlight a little bit some of the other people that you're going to be hearing from tonight. And just a reminder to our presenters to turn your cameras on. We are going to have Dr. Brenda Wade with us. And Dr. Brenda is someone who's been on my show several times. And we're going to hear, I'm going to do longer introductions, by the way, for each person. But Brenda's with us. Brenda is in the house. So thank you, Dr. Brenda Wade. We always have wonderful music. And Nina Grae, who has become one of my absolute favorite voices. She's a favorite of the Global Peace Tribe. Her music just opens our hearts. And so we're really grateful to have Nina back with us. Thank you. And doing double duty, Ivy Hilton, who's been with us 3 weeks in a row now. It seems like every show we're doing, it's like, oh, well, we got to have Dr. Ivy Hilton with us. So welcome. And then someone who actually started as a fan of the Global Peace Tribe and just somebody watching our shows. And the more I got to know her, she has so many beautiful contributions. So welcome, Josiane. Really grateful to have you with us. Mischa is making his debut on the Awakening World and Global Peace Tribe. He is here to really kind of represent understanding from our perspective. Like, we're here to learn from all of you. And so Mischa, welcome. Also, Mischa is Trish Wright's beloved. And of course, all of you know Trish, who is my teaching partner and who usually hosts on Friday nights. And she is in Costa Rica right now. So Mischa is also standing in for Trish to some degree. Of course, Sharif, my co-pilot for the weekend, is with us. Also, she doesn't have her camera on, but Antoinette Hall is going to be with us. Antoinette talking about Stand Up for Justice. And so this is our group for, there she is. She turned her camera on. Welcome, Antoinette. So these are our beloveds. And I just am going to acknowledge a few other people that are with us. The Wild Abbot, Jerry, is with us. And he comes to us all the way from Puerto Rico. And welcome, Jerry, for all of your support. He's not going to be speaking tonight, but he'll be with us. And again, I also want to acknowledge the person who really is my support person. She puts all the links as you're hearing to people. This is Debbie Johnson, who is the wonderful support person. And then later on, we're going to have an after show. And for the after show, Dot Maver is going to be joining us. And some of you who were in our early show heard her speak ever so briefly. So welcome, Dot. Thank you for being with us. And she's going to report on what took place earlier this morning from Auschwitz, this extraordinary gathering and this worldwide meditation that she put together. So thank you, Dot, for being with us. We always like to start our shows with music because music is the universal language. And again, I was really grateful when I was putting this show together and I asked Nina if she'd be willing to play. And she said, yes, I would love to. And so in turning it over to Nina Grae, she's a beloved musical songstress, but she's also someone who her songs always have a message. And Nina, I'd like to just invite you to share, in addition to whatever musical pieces you've chosen tonight, your thoughts on this very complex topic, this very deep conversation. I want to hear your words as well as your beautiful musical offering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Scott. Really honored to be here. Sharif, I'm resonating deeply with the words that you spoke at the beginning, finding our reason for being. If we're not here for peace, if we're not here to remember that we are one human family, all different threads, diverse threads from the same fabric woven into the same quilt, then what is the point? And that's a question that I've meditated on so much. And as children, whether we witness children or we remember our childhood, we knew this. We were innately filled with this understanding that the differences about us do not outweigh the commonalities, that love should never outweigh fear. And so in this kind of radical transitionary time that we're going through, where we're seeing these old paradigms and thought forms and deep traumas take center stage and reveal themselves as truth. Let us not forget our truth and the truth that we came from, of our interconnectedness, that love is a million times more powerful than fear. That action that we take that is life affirming is in accordance with natural law. And any action that's taken that's not life affirming is a thought form and an action coming from trauma, coming from fear, coming from a forgetting of our true nature. And so in that breath, the prayers that we have for the hearts and the minds of leaders that have forgotten and lost their way, those prayers are powerful to introduce some moment of miracle, some radical shift in their hearts where they remember why they became leaders in the first place. And this disease of greed, of this wanting to have power for the sake of power instead of wanting to empower the people, is one that has plagued our human family for so long. And it seems like that last rearing of its head before this disease dies off. And so in the midst of it rearing its head, may we be the antibodies that stand firm in the knowing of our truth and the emanation and the reverberation of love. And I know we see these things happening on a global scale, and it can almost feel, so big, so insurmountable. What can we do for the people in Ukraine, in Syria, in Yemen, in Afghanistan, if we're sitting in our cozy home in America or wherever we may be? But there are instances of suffering, and there are hands and hearts in need of love in our backyards, in our neighborhoods, in our communities. So we always have an opportunity to look around at the landscape we're living in and be those loving emanations, whether it's visiting an underserved school and volunteering our time to just spend time with kids and reaffirm that love is the ruling order of the day, to start a clothing drive, a food drive in our neighborhood or with our spiritual center, to just host talk circles where people can express their traumas and work through them so they can return to coming from a place of love in their speech and their actions, and let go of the conditioned thoughts of their lineage, their family, their ancestry, and return to the set point of love. We are creators, and we're so powerful beyond measure. As Nelson Mandela / Marianne Williamson have been quoted to say, it's not our darkness, but our light that scares us. And so this is the time where we get to be flashlights, the spotlights that we are, and really radiate a radical love that will make this season and this period of fear become obsolete. So this song, We Are Creators, is dedicated to everybody that's tuned in right now, to their own hearts, to this program, and to the knowing that they came here on purpose, that their birth was not a mistake, that they came here with a definite gift to add to the collective during this time, chosen to be leaders, chosen to be emissaries of radical love. We are creators. Hey, Mr. Sculptor, hey, Mr. Builder, when it all comes together, will it make the people better? Hey, Mr. Businessman, Mr. Shareholder, did you write your 5-year plan for New World Order? We're here to wake you up. No, we won't fall prey to old lies. We've been there before. We knew we had the power to change anything, anything and everything. Oh, the futures are standing so bright. It will light up every cold and frozen soul, from Rome to Tokyo. Let's raise the glass and have a toast tonight. We are creators. Yes, we are the painters of our world. We are creators, and we decide what goes. Hey, Mr. President, hey, all you teachers, did you come to make a difference? If not, then leave us, 'cause we're the generation to finish what's been started. Goodbye to the old rules mandated by the heartless. We're here to sing our song. I hope you sing along. We've been waiting on change, and it's been a long, 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 long. We are creators. Yes, we are heart of everything, and love is who we are. And love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. And love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. So let's raise our hands and lift our voice. They're gonna hear our sound. Let's make some noise. Let's raise our hands and lift our voice. They're gonna hear our sound. Let's make some noise, singing yeah. We are creators. Yes, we are the painters of our world. And we are creators, and we decide, yes, we decide what to go. If you feel inspired to put what you are creating in your corner of the world, please drop it in the chat. We all have a beautiful divine responsibility, and we all have the power to create change. Sending my love. I'll pass the talking stick.
Nina, don't go away yet. This is not hyperbole. I want to say that the last 10 minutes has been as powerful as any 10 minutes I've ever experienced in this show. What you had to say, and then the way you sang it with that level of passion. I just so honor you and appreciate you, and I'm grateful for your presence in our world, your presence in our awakening world, your connection to spirit and the way you bring spirit through your human body. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Thank you for creating spaces like this where we get to remember why we came here.
I gotta kind of pull myself together here. And people are already putting into the chat box, what a beautiful suggestion Nina made, as we are, and so many people are writing, already before you even ask the question, how powerful your words are, how powerful your song is. So what are we creating? So I'm going to just ask us, let's take a minute or two to put into the chat box, and I'll take a look at what people are on Unify, if you're on Facebook, wherever you are. Use this power right now. What are you creating? What do you want to create? What are you creating? And then when we all go back and we read that, we can empower you. We can hold that prayer like, yes, Charlotte. Yes, Denise. Yes, Omashar. Yes, Carol. Yes, Mark. Yes, Dot. As each of you write, we can empower that.
Love it. Yes. Yes.
Nina is going to be back, so please continue to write. And I do want to let people know a little bit also. It's so important for us to support musical artists like Nina. The pandemic has been devastating to so many people, but it was especially devastating for musicians because so many of their ways to make money stopped. The festivals, the conferences, even clubs and restaurants shutting down. And so people that used to tour and sell CDs, well, no more tours, and nobody's buying CDs anymore. They're all listening to Spotify. And do you know that Spotify pays 0.003 0.003 every time they play Nina's song. 0.003 is what Nina makes when we're listening to her music on Spotify. So it's really important for us to support our artists. And first off, please, everybody, go to her website. It's her name, ninagrae.com. It's spelled Ninagrae, Nina Grae, spelled Grae.com. Now, she's got wonderful music that you can get there. And what I want to invite you to do is do what I did. When I first discovered her, I became a patron. And it's so important for our musical artists to know that they've got a monthly amount of money coming in. And so you can join at $8 a month or $18 a month or $42 a month. And this is how we can support our favorite musicians. And Nina is prolific all the time. As I'm going through my emails, oh my God, there's another for her Patreon members. Here's a new song from Nina. Here is wisdom from Nina. Here's Nina in her car giving a download of the day. And it's always like such a joy to say, wow, what does Nina have to say today? What does Nina have to share in her musical moments? So I am getting so much by being a patron of Nina Grae, and I want to really encourage people to do that. Please, let's support our artists so Nina knows every month there's a certain amount that's going to come in from her Patreon account. We've got to support our musical artists. Listen to how she just opened our hearts with her wisdom. And Nina is wise as well as a brilliantly talented artist. So let's please all support Nina. Please.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us and getting us off to such an extraordinary start. And she'll be back shortly for a little bit more. She's going to lead our prayer this week. In a moment, we're going to hear from Antoinette Hall, but she's going to be talking about a very important project that she's doing called Stand Up for Justice. And I want to play a short video that is part of that. That's going to kind of introduce you to what she's doing, and it's powerful work that she's doing. So I'm going to play the video, and then we're going to hear from our beloved friend, Antoinette Hall.
Stand Up for Justice. This group marching down Main Street in Lake Elsinore today, calling for an end to police brutality and racial injustice.
Did I share that properly? Were you guys seeing that properly? Was it filling the full
I saw it. You did.
full
You
screen?
may not have had it all the way full screen, but I saw it.
Okay, I want to make sure that it's full screen. So we are going to go back to the beginning, and oh, I know what happened. All right, let's try that again.
Stand Up for Justice. This group marching down Main Street in Lake Elsinore today, calling for an end to police brutality and racial injustice. They also wanted to make sure their message hit home in other ways.
a powerful video. And I have so much respect for Antoinette. One of the things that I want to acknowledge is what a balanced life she leads. She's a reggae star. She's an amazing musical artist. She's an activist. She runs a spiritual movement with her beautiful husband, Pato Banton. And there's so many things that Antoinette is doing in the world. And God bless her, she's with us tonight. And she was with us last night. And Antoinette, I really just respect you so much. Thank you for being with us. And please tell us more about the Jane campaign and Stand Up for Justice and what we
Thank
can
you.
do. Yeah.
Thank you so much. First off, before I get into that, I want to just reiterate and re-echo your statement about Nina and the musicians, because that's exactly what has happened. For those of you guys don't know, it's as a musician, that's exactly what happened to me. That song I wrote during the pandemic, you know, so we were all out of work. All of our touring had stopped for the year. You know, all of our gigs, all of our livelihood, all of our work, everything had gone completely ended. And then we went into, so basically we were at home and then we were trying to figure out what are we going to do, you know, with all this injustice and all these things that's going on. And for my way of expressing myself, I like to write music. That's kind of like my way of kind of like release and different things. My girlfriends came over. I have a lot of girlfriends that worked on this album called Stand Up for Justice. And I don't even think a lot of people even knew, but I actually released 3 albums during the pandemic. And that was one of them, Stand Up for Justice. And with Pato's song on there, he did a bunch of songs. A bunch of my girlfriends came over and they said, what are we gonna do? I said, we're gonna write music because I'm not gonna go out there mashing up the streets. I'm not gonna go out there doing any of these things and stuff. And that's the reason why we ended up in that protest to begin with. The mayor had told people to go and box up their windows and to protect their businesses because all the places around us within a 30-mile radius was like being looted or rioted. So Pato and I just kind of went out there just to kind of let everybody know. It's like, we live here. There's not going to be any rioting or looting happening within our city. We're just going to take some pictures, let everybody know within our city group that everything is fine. And then we're just going to go home. When we came home, once we got out there, the people, we realized that there were no organizers. And so the people just kind of like looked at us and said, well, how about, why not then, what are you guys going to do? And I was like, well, we're going to go ahead and just do the march, because they asked me and Dr. Quinlan if we would go ahead and lead the march. So we did lead the march. And after we led the march, as you can see, the police officers were out there watching us to make sure that we weren't causing any trouble. Of course, we didn't cause any trouble. There was some other people that were going to cause some trouble. And then the police contacted us again and asked if they could march with us during the next march. And so that's kind of what led us going into the organization. So Sharif, you know, honestly, you know, I was up in Portland. This whole thing started with the Portland Wall of Moms and how I ended up in Portland and trying to deal with all those women up there, how I started this organization. But it was from the march. It was from doing 2 marches within our city, starting a relationship with the local police department, starting the Jane campaign, and then coming back down here into California, realizing that wasn't going to work, all the work that I was trying to do up in Portland with the Wall of Moms and with the Black community and with the young Black activists that were doing a lot of different things up in Portland. That was a lot different from what was happening that we saw on the news. Anyway, long story short, but we'll get into that another time. I finally started the organization Stand Up for Justice based off of the song that Pato wrote, based off of us doing the march that day. The Jane campaign was something that I learned when I was up in Portland. Apparently, they have a program called the Cahoots program. And there was another program that I learned from some of the activists up there called the Blue Envelope program that's actually in Connecticut. And this is something that the police officers actually came up with, these programs on how they were going to deal with special needs and autism within the communities. So the Cahoots program has a thing called additional registry. I met with this woman who is a police officer who has an autistic son. And what they do is that if an address gets called in, they are flagged. They know, because just like I was telling people, when people call and say, we have a situation at our home, we have a mental health crisis, or something is going down, please do not bring any guns. Whatever you do, do not bring any guns. Don't bring any of those things. We don't want any escalation, and we need you to de-escalate if you come down here. But as we saw, that poor Black man in Texas was shot and killed in his front yard. And what happened here in Corona, which is 15 minutes away from me at the Costco, a grown man was shot by police officers, and then off-duty police officer, and he also shot the parents of the special needs adult as well too, in the back. They were in a coma for many months. Anyway, this trial they end up settling out of court with $17 million to pay out to this family. I suggested that we do the additional registry and the blue envelope with the police already loved. And they suggested, all right, we're going to announce this, but it's been like 2 years now. In Colorado, they've already introduced their bill, which called the STAR program in Denver. And after 2 months after Elijah McClain was killed, after they did that, they've already introduced a new bill or new program in Aurora, the next city over after 8 months, because the first one did so well. So basically the Jane campaign is what Stand Up for Justice is doing right now. We also do the Martin Luther King Day. We also are involved with the Juneteenth. We had the largest in SoCal last year in our city at the stadium. And this time we're partnering up with 5 other cities to have the largest in SoCal. And I'm also teaching other women on our Mondays how to host a Juneteenth in your city, how to throw a Juneteenth in your city. I think everybody should have a Juneteenth in their city. And we're also currently doing the Mothers for Deported Mothers at the border at Tijuana in San Diego. So any food, clothing, money donations, we are helping the Haitian refugee women, the African women, the Hispanic women, just everybody who's being kicked out of the country. There's a mother and daughter team out there, and we're trying to support right now. So thank you for listening. We are Stand Up for Justice. Check us out.
Well, don't go away, because we went a little more with you. So, I was so touched on one of our earlier shows where you told the story about what happened in Costco. And I really appreciate how you are standing up for justice, but really doing it eye to eye with the police, doing it eye to eye, and not in a us versus them, but in again, helping them to become more conscious, helping them to become more awakened. And thank you for
It's a
that.
very difficult time here in this city because right now our sheriff is up for re-election. It turns out if you see the captain who's marching behind me, he's retired. Same thing with the lieutenant that we brought the campaign to is retired. I think when we did this whole march together and we start working together, that might have caused a little bit of friction within the sheriff's department. Now that the sheriff is up for re-election, it turns out the captain, who is now retired, is running up against him. At the time, the people are kind of upset because they're saying maybe he's an oath keeper or he's a patriot or different things. I'm like, who isn't in the police right now? Sure, I would love to get rid of all sorts of police officers, but also at the same time, we would be getting rid of every single police officer. I'm trying to sit there and think about like, who can we actually work with? That's something that we can actually all do together. That Jane's son, her son, that you saw a picture of him, he is bigger than me now. When we first met him, he was like up to my knee. If we go into Golden Corral and Pato, he's so good with him. And that's the reason why she even moved to Lake Elsinore, is because she knows that it takes a village to raise a family. Pato and I, we're godparents to so many children. They know if anything happens or if somebody needs us, we're going to take those kids to school. We're going to make sure they got food to eat. We're going to make sure everybody's checked out for each other. When we go into Golden Corral with this big kid, if he does not get to his French fries in time, that's a bull in a china shop. Everybody's going to go down, but not everybody knows how to control somebody, and not everybody knows how to deal with somebody who just really loves French fries or understands. But they do have training, and I don't understand why we can sit there and get a brand new, like RV, police cruiser RV, You know, all that money that they did, they defunded, they gave it all back to them to buy more military gear. And I'm sitting there saying, if you can sit there, if you don't want to keep giving out $17 million or 20 million or 10 million there, just invest a few thousand into a decent training program, you know, something. Let's sit there, or some awareness. So something that we can all sit there and educate with each other, because even the additional registry, just get that website up there. I will go and sign every single person up myself if I got to do that. You know, got to do what we got to do.
Mm, thank you. We're going to hear more from Antoinette, but don't go away because there's another.
I'd like to jump in for just 1 second. If
Absolutely,
I may.
Sharif. Absolutely.
Okay, I'll make it 2 seconds then. Antoinette gave this vision of what's happening on the street. Okay, I want to give you a vision of some of the conversation that's happening in the background, and how difficult this is. I know a lot of the police chiefs, and I was talking with the police chief, not of Portland, but of one of the surrounding cities. And he was talking about his frustration. He said, if there's a situation like what happened with George Floyd, he says, I already know the 5 officers would be involved in it. He says, I know who it would be. He said, I would love to fire them. And he said, I can't. The civil service laws, and they know how to play the laws. They know how to manipulate the police union. He said, you know, I can't fire them. And he said, when that incident happens, it's not if, but when that incident happens, I'll get fired. Wow. You know, now, so when we talk about justice, we talk about changing, we're talking about changing a stupid, silly bureaucracy. And we need to apply the pressure where the pressure is actually going to do some good. Trying to get someone to change who's already changed. I mean, this guy, he said, you know, I want to do all these things. And this book over here says I can't do it. And so our challenge is, how do we own up? How do we all level up and start recognizing who's trapped by the system? And something that Václav Havel said, the line between the victim and the victimizer goes through each one of our hearts. So our challenge is, how can I remove the victim from my heart? How can I remove the villain from myself? How can I remove all those situations from the systems that are holding them in place, that make it so easy to buy buy more military gear? It's almost you don't have to think about it. It's like, oh, here it comes. And to start recognizing that the transformation of our security has to happen at a total, profound level. I would go further, but I'm going to talk a little later on, so I'm not going to go any further right now.
Thank you, Sharif, for, you know, as co-pilot, you're always welcome to jump in, and I do appreciate that perspective. You're muted, Antoinette.
I was just going to say, just as a reminder too, as what's happening out there, we live here, and that every time all those riots and looting was happening and going on, they always look to us as if we're the ones doing it. And I was up in Portland, and it wasn't the Black people up there either. You know, I went up there, and that's when I went and found them. I found the Black people who sit there saying, I tried to stop them. I was begging them. I tried to stop them. We was trying to keep the peace. And same thing here. We live in an area where we're the minority in these areas. So because we're the minorities in these areas, if anything goes down to, they always look at me and Pato. You know, it's those are only Black people we ever seen out here. So it's Pato and myself. And I'm always telling Pato, you got to be careful how you going out there, especially at night, even in the daytime, what you wearing, how you dress, same old issues.
Yeah. One of the things, so Antoinette, if you've been in Portland, you know that there were like 3 centers for this activity: downtown, Northeast, Martin Luther King Avenue, and Lloyd Center. Okay, so right now, as I'm pointing my finger, I'm pointing at the Lloyd Center. I live right across the street. Okay, and I was watching people trying to burn down the Lloyd Center. Not one of them Black.
I know.
Okay, not one of them. A lot of them not even from Portland. A lot of them from you know, who knows where. And they're on my front steps exchanging Molotov cocktails. Okay, I'm looking out this window right here, and I'm watching this going on, and I'm saying, there's a whole other level of game going on, and that's why I say, when you create the goal that says we're creating a world that works for all living beings, are you with us, Mr. Molotov cocktail? And if you're not, can you go somewhere else? Because you're not part of this. And I think that we, all of us, have to be very serious about
how we keep the peace.
I was going how we do our own self-policing, to say, look, you know, if you want to have your own demonstration or whatever, go do that. But if what you're trying to do is escalate our situation here, you're not welcome. You're just simply not welcome. And Gandhi did that. Martin Luther King did that. Martin Luther King made people sign statements of nonviolence. They had to sign a statement that they're going to dress in their Sunday best. They had to sign statements that they were not going to be provoked. And that self-discipline was what carried the day. Yeah. And we need to start seeing a lot more of that discipline. And I'm gonna go back to muting myself, because I'm having too much time talking to you. Okay.
Thank you. But to wrap this up, exactly, and that's the reason why that's why this is called #JaneCampaign. Please, people, follow this hashtag, use this hashtag. Anybody who wants to help me on any kind of digital or social media, I learned that if I was going to sit there and take any kind of real message, is to take it off of the streets and take it to the courthouse, take it to the state, take it to lobby. And that's the reason why we started the Learning to Lobby. For the past 2 years, we've been getting together every single Monday night on how do we learn to lobby, because if we lobby, we can sit there and pass these bills. We don't have to sit there and keep marching out there all the time, because, you know, everybody's got to do whatever they got to do. I'm not going to tell anybody how they're going to protest. People got to do whatever they have got to do. This is going to be my way of protesting, is I'm going to take it from the streets to the White House, you know, so help me get this bill passed here in the state of California, and help me get this all across this country. And if you can't do anything, then at least share the hashtag, you know, share the hashtag, share the story, let us know, get involved.
Thank you. Okay. So stay with us for a moment. You know, Global Peace Tribe raises money. We started as a fundraiser, and we're probably close to $200,000 that we've raised in the 2 years that I've been doing these shows on Saturday night. And when I talked to Antoinette, I knew that I wanted to, this weekend, dedicate our fundraising to Antoinette's work. And her beloved husband, Pato, said, Scott, raising money for the Stand Up for Justice is important, but she actually needs support in another part of her life. And that is that Antoinette got a very difficult diagnosis, and I'll let her talk briefly about it. But I want to ask everybody to please today support her healing campaign. And Debbie is going to be putting the GoFundMe link into the chat box here in Zoom and on Unify, Facebook, because you have seen tonight how important this woman is to the world, and we need her to be healthy, and we need her to be with us. And breast cancer is no joke. So please, 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 please donate. I donated when this campaign first began. I donated again last night. And I really want to ask everybody, please donate. Let's support Antoinette's healing. And Antoinette, anything you'd like to share about your healing journey?
Yes, thank you so much, Scott. The reason why we started the GoFundMe was because I decided I wasn't going to do the conventional treatment after everything that I've read and studied, and also my own triggered past history of losing to my father to chemo when I was young. I was 12 years old when he died from cancer. Well, not from cancer, he died from chemo. Anyway, it's been a very trying couple of months, but what I've been learning about those very expensive cancer hospitals is about what they do there, about natural healing. And I found that there's all sorts of natural and holistic ways of healing. I also realized, because I'm a natural person, I believe in mind, body, and spirit, that I can't, it would go against me to do something that I totally disagree with, as far as chemo, radiation, and the surgery that they would like to perform on my body. I've had some issues with the doctors because I wanted to go a more natural and holistic way, that they're kind of like not cooperating with me at all right now. So it's been an interesting journey of trying to find out about my own health, and to learn about my own health, and to take control of my own health. And actually, even though it's very nerve-wracking and it's very scary, I find it very challenging, because also at the same time, I know if I did a chemo or the natural or the conventional type of way, I would be in recovery for months, years, and who knows about chance of recovery, because cancer has a horrible chance of recovering within 5 years or 10 years or 25 years or a few months or different things. It's a very tricky kind of thing. So I'm still learning at this point how everything works, how my body works. I'm learning about the natural and holistic ways that I can treat myself and other things. And also at the same time, I just think that having a choice, having a medical choice of like how we want to choose to live and how we want to die. And since I haven't gone the conventional way, I've managed to be able to continue the work that we've been doing with our nonprofit organization. I've been able to continue the work with my husband for Edentia. And this is at the end of, I'm doing 3 shows next week on the rise of the divine feminine. And this was actually inspired by you, Scott, ever since we did that one on the divine feminine. And I got so empowered by that. I'm like, I think the whole world needs to know about this message from the divine feminine, which is part of my healing, which is part of the music, which is part of what's happening on the planet, which is part of getting grounded, which is part of getting back to earth. So that's going to, like, this new Antoinette 2.0 version coming out of this is going to be pretty spectacular. I've never had an issue about dying. I've never worried about where I was going when it was time to go, because I know exactly where I'm going. My biggest fear is pain. I cannot deal with pain. And it's like everything that I've heard about cancer pain is just horrible. And I'm in these cancer groups every day, and it's just one horror story after another horror story after another horror story. But all the beautiful stories that I'm hearing about natural healing and about meditation and prayer and about, finding and discovering yourself and seeing the world, how it really works, and the clarity. And that's amazing. So basically, I'm back to work. So after these 3 shows, I'm still continuing on with my healing. I just got to figure out, how do I heal and work at the same time? Because, my people still need help, and I still got to make sure before I kick off this planet and kick rocks, that I go kicking and screaming and everybody heard my name, and I let everybody know what I was doing before I left. But until then, I'm still going. Thank you.
Antoinette, thank you. And I'm going to bring on Nina Grae back on. And I really want to encourage people to please support her, Antoinette, in 2 ways. Through green energy. We really need to provide green energy, but also through healing energy. And of course, now every week on The Awakening World, we have a healing prayer time. And I'm really grateful that Nina Grae is going to be providing our healing prayers, starting with a prayer for Antoinette and then opening it up. So I'm going to turn it
And
over to
Nina,
you.
I would love to ask you to work on a song with me too.
Mm. Oh, that's a big visceral yes. Yes, I would be honored, sister. Mm. Mm. Well, thank you, Scott, for inviting me in to do and lead this prayer, this collective prayer. Let us all take a deep breath and return to that center of our being, that place of stillness and connection. Dear great creator, most high Holy Spirit, Mother, Father, God, we gather here in this global peace tribe to bring forth your energy, to bring forth your energy of healing, the spirit of your grace, your mercy, your compassion, your forgiveness, the healing properties that are life affirming properties. May these properties fill the spirit, the body, the mind, and the heart of Antoinette and amplify all of the cells so that they may work together to move through this season and on to the 2.0 version of Antoinette. May this love and this grace reach into the cells of all beings on this planet. All beings that may have forgotten the power of your glory, the power of your love that is always a presence and never an absence. May there be a divine miracle in the minds and hearts of all of those who have forgotten the way, the path, the place of joy, the place of love, the understanding and the knowing and the remembrance that we are divinely connected, never to be separated, and that any wrongdoing or ill treatment of one human being is a wrongdoing and ill treatment to all of us. May that divine remembrance spark and sprout a new seed inside the hearts of those that have chosen to forget, that have are living in a shield of unconsciousness that creates actions that are not life affirming, that are destructive by nature. Let us remember that we are here as creators, as emissaries of the great creator, and that we have the power within us to create a new world, to create new paradigms based on love as the foundation, based on empathy and compassion and awareness of all of the struggles that we go through on a personal, collective, communal, national, world level. May these systems that are rooted in inequity be reimagined by all of us. May we hold visions of systems that do not keep people in a mode of survival and thus choosing action that may not be of the highest good to themselves or one another. For where those that still exist in survival cannot exist in a state of thriving and often do not have the choice of living a life that is free of the struggle of this world. We are so capable with your power, with your glory, and with your grace, and with your wisdom to create new systems and to come back to the fundamental ancestral wisdom that exists in our DNA that knows how to create a world that works for everyone. May we remember. May we remember. May we use each breath that we have as a moment of prayer to check ourselves, to ask ourselves if we're living in a space of love, if we're acting and speaking from a space of love, and if the reality that we're creating is one we would want our children and our children's children to inhabit. May we keep that idea and the notion of the children at the forefront of our minds so that our action may support the lives that they may live and support the planet that they will thrive on in the future. And we want to say thank you. We also wrap this prayer in a big hug of gratitude for all of the goodness and all of the joy and all of the connection and all of the love that is here now. Let us not forget, and let us never be hopeless, because we only need to look around at the trees and the mountains and the oceans and the animals and the children to remember how beautiful you are and how innately loving and giving you are. And because we come from you and to you we will return, we have inherited the glory and the grace that you are. So let us be thankful. Let us be infused with your spirit as we continue to walk forward, and remember, in every moment we can choose to be infused with your power that creates worlds. In the spirit of love, in the spirit of your name, in the spirit of our human species evolving and moving to the next step, we say, Amen, Ashe, Shalom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If there's someone on your heart or in your space, in your family, in your community that you are sending a prayer to tonight, or you are putting forth loving energy towards, please feel free to share their name in the chat. Hold them in your mind's eye. And let us all just take 15 seconds of silence to beam the most intentionally uplifting, transformatively loving energy we can through our hands into the screen. May all of us and brothers and sisters rise together. I'm going to share a song called Breathe, in the spirit of remembering that moment by moment, word by word, thought by thought, action by action, we can always return to our breath to recalibrate and choose to remember what frequency we're tuning into, and thus what reality we're creating. When my mind can't find the words and my heart's a mess, I got to remind myself to breathe through it. When there's fire behind my eyes and grief inside my chest, I got to remind myself to breathe through it. Baby, breathe. Come home to yourself, darling. Breathe it all out. Then breathe it all in. Baby, breathe. Come home to yourself, darling. Breathe it all out.
I've got to remind myself to breathe through it. When the shadows and the depths will not let me get no rest, I got to tell myself to breathe through it. Baby, breathe, come home to yourself, darling. Breathe it all out, breathe it all in, breathe it all in. Baby, breathe, come home to yourself, darling. Breathe it all out, breathe it all in. And don't make it complicated, babe, just breathe. Let your chest rise up and fall down naturally. No, don't make it complicated, babe, just breathe. Let your chest rise up and fall down naturally. Baby, breathe. Come home to yourself, darling. Breathe it all out. Then breathe it all in. Let us take a collective breath together. For the people of Ukraine, for the people of Syria, of Yemen, of Afghanistan, Palestine, and Iraq, and Somalia. We send prayers of peace. May the power of the Most High's love wrap around you in these times. May there be a candle of light in the midst of this darkness, as a remembrance that we will move past this era of war to a higher plateau of peace. Thank you.
Nina, I want you to start a church. I want to attend the Church of Nina Grae because your prayer, your music, your wisdom, you have ministered to us tonight in multiple ways. You truly have. And I really just want to acknowledge the ministry and your ability to minister in the true sense of the word. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have to say that here in Los Angeles, I have been blessed to be a part of the Agape community with Reverend Michael Beckwith, and I consider him a mentor and a guide, as well as Marianne Williamson, and and their ministry has greatly inspired my life. So anyone that is in the LA area, I know those doors will be opening soon again. So if you are feeling the call to join in community and you're in this area, I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Absolutely. I don't know if you know, Nina, I first started going to Michael's services when we were meeting in the basement of the Santa Monica Miramar Hotel on metal folding chairs. And there were like 15 of us there. And Michael and I go back that far. He's been on the show a few times, and it's been amazing what he's created. And he is the real deal. I traveled to Jamaica with him in 1995, and He's just such a beautiful man, and it's true. And anybody, I mean, if you do want a beautiful church service every Sunday morning, he does three services. I think it's like at 6:30 and 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, and they're all online and beautiful music, artists like Nina, and beautiful spirit channeling through. But I tell you, you got the gift also, Nina. You know, you did kind of deflect it to Michael, which is okay. But I just, but, you know, because he's at the top. But you really do have a gift of ministering. You know, and I really got that tonight. So
Thank you.
Scott, I'm glad you said that because I was about to. And one of the things that that's been true for me, and I'm just a couple of years older than you, Nina. And in my younger years, I did an awful lot of deflecting. You know, no, it's them, it's them. Or I did an awful lot of, oh yeah, it really is me, it's me. And someone who worked for me, but turned out to be wiser than me, said to me, people have been accusing me of being arrogant. And I was saying, if I were white, you just say I was confident. And that's true. But they said, and I said to them, I know what I know. And she said, if you know what you know, and you know the source of what you know, then you come across very humble. And in terms of the deflecting, once you sit in source, you don't have to deflect anything because there's nowhere to deflect it to. Okay, there's no one who is any more God than you.
Amen.
Okay, there's no one who's any less God than you. Okay, and so sit in it, revel in it, and you can let your ego out a little bit. Just make sure you keep it on a short leash. Okay. Yeah, right. The back seat, short leash. Mine used to wear a muzzle too.
you know, I love that you came in with
Thank you.
that. And it's interesting that you just sang the song "Breathe," because one of a teaching that I heard is that when somebody compliments us, and there's a part of us that wants to deflect it, the best thing to do is take a breath, breathe it in, and say thank you. So, and we all do that, don't we? We all deflect when somebody shines the light on us, because the light's bright sometimes, right? It's a bright light. And thank you for ministering to us so beautifully tonight, Nina. And I do want to let people know there's one other way that you can get ministered. That's my word. Nina, she does sessions. She does vocal coaching sessions. So again, if you go to her website, ninagrae.com, Grae, remember that's how she spells it, and then you click one-on-one sessions, tell us a little bit about how you support people to open up their vocals.
Oh, this is a true joy of my life. Backstory, I was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, and so I was literally gray when I was born. And so part of my dharma here, I really feel, is to make sure my throat and my expression is fully activated in this life. And because of that, I am really grateful to meet other people along their journey that either sang as a child or had a lot to say, but somewhere along the way felt that they got shut down or blocked, but they're feeling the call to express themselves again, whether through music or just using their voice as a change agent, and to step into their space of leadership or ministry or spoken word, poetry, whatever it is. I really hold space. My greatest tool is just listening in a non-judgmental way and guiding people to a space of deeper permission and acceptance of their power, of their voice, and going through practices and also affirmation work to just open up this space, this throat chakra, so they can feel in alignment with the gift that they have.
What a gift you could give anybody who's watching and listening. What a gift to yourself to work with Nina. So I want to really encourage people to consider that. And they contact you by going to the website?
Yeah, I love, we just sit down and have a consultation call. I hear about what you're going through and we determine if it's a good fit. And I keep my sessions very accessible. So if anybody does feel the call to open up their vocal treasure and their vocal gifts, I love, love, love doing this work.
Great. Thank you so much, Nina. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we go from one extraordinary soul to another on this show, don't we? I get to introduce Dr. Brenda Wade, and she's someone that I've gotten to know through these shows, and she is a gem. She's got such a great heart. She's an internationally recognized author and television personality. Those of us in the Bay Area have seen her on KRON. And she provides a unique blend of psychology, science, and spirituality. And she's become one of the most renowned psychologists in America through her television shows, her best-selling books, and her breakthrough seminars. And so we're really fortunate to have Dr. Brenda Wade with us tonight. Thank you so much, Brenda, for being with us.
Oh, Scott, I feel like I'm the one who's fortunate. The gifts we've received tonight from Antoinette, from Nina, from you, listening to Sharif, it's just been so beautiful. I'm filled up. I grew up in the Black Baptist Church, Southern Baptist Church, and we would have a tradition where people would shout when they got the Spirit. I feel like shouting,
Yeah.
It's kind of, so beautiful and intense. And Nina, you just recalled for me also the spiritual transformation that I've had at Agape also. So it's like family here. I'm just watching all the interconnections, the way we're all interwoven. And I think, Scott, that's your great gift. You're like our godfather, and your intuitive state of being is just to bring us all together. So I feel gifted, I feel grateful, and I thank you for this opportunity. And I'm going to share very briefly, as coherently as I can, something that's very big for me, which is bringing together those three disciplines of psychology and spirituality with this background that I have in neuroscience. I started my career not doing psychology or spiritual work. I was about as shut down and as negative and as depressed as any human being could be. And I was at the University of Washington, which most of you know is the #1 research institute in the field of psychology, but I wasn't working with people. I was studying prematurely born monkeys. So I was in the monkey lab because I couldn't really deal with people during that stage in my life, couldn't deal with myself. So this depression I was in got worse and worse. And then I know there's a goddess because I got a scholarship to go work with Dr. Virginia Satir, who became my mentor and completely transformed me. And I just have to say this. I hated her guts the first night because she was hugging everybody. I was like, ooh, she's hugging. What's wrong with this woman? And she hugged me and I just started sobbing because it was a transmission. So I know that there's a way that all of us together can hug one another energetically and open a space. So if I may, I just want to weave together what came to me as I was feeling into Nina and feeling into Antoinette and feeling into you, Scott, and Sharif, and where we are at this moment. I do believe with all my heart that this is a moment of transformation on the planet. And I know because I've seen it in my own subconscious and superconscious mind, sitting in meditation in India in ashrams, sitting for hours and hours to awaken my own consciousness. I've seen what's known in the East as the net of Indra, the web of life. I've seen it. We are all connected. Each one of us is one of the links on that net. And if we can hold that vision, whether it's emerging as a spiritual awareness, whether it's looking at the imagery and the network in the brain, now that we, for the last 10 years, are studying the salient network in the brain and how it's interconnected, if we can hold that we are all connected and then do some specific practices from where I sit, this is just the quick down and dirty, this is stuff I would normally spend every Monday night in our mastermind training or hours on a second Saturday of every month. Right now, I've got 8 minutes, so here we go. I'm going to ask you to just do this practice with me if you're willing. And if you're feeling weird about it, that's okay. Just let the energy flow. Take a deep breath and bring your hands to your heart. And we're going to activate the heart with just a few seconds of tapping. It takes about 60 seconds. And as you're tapping, I'm going to invite you to see yourself as a just woven dot on that web of life. You're woven into the web, but each of us has our own space. Keep breathing. We've got just about 20 seconds left to activate. The thymus gland is releasing thymus hormone through the heart, so the heart becomes more coherent so that we can feel our heart, and your heart does have power. This is a brain, you all know that. So this heart brain now, God, we've got it activated. Just rest your hand there. We're going to use the heart power with the head power and with this gut brain, they all work together now to envision ourselves operating what I call the 5 A's. And the first A is acceptance. Acceptance that something in us needs to be activated. That's the second A. Accept that we, through our activation, cultivate awareness. And if you're a person who is in a body that looks white on the outside and Caucasian, then it is very important for you to accept and activate the awareness that there are those who are being harmed because their bodies look brown or black on the outside, and that we as a family must tend to those in our family who need our aid. So if you can accept and be aware and activate, now you can step into this aspiration that I am part of the solution. As Dr. King said, you're either part of the solution or part of the problem. And not from a place of I'm a victim, but from a place of there is a need, that our human family needs this healing. So now take a big yawn and stretch. We're going to activate that salient network. Stretch and yawn, your biggest stretch ever, and yawn so that our brain now is activated. And just for the next few seconds, challenge yourself. What am I going to do to be part of the solution? There are so many ways. You've heard Nina make a call. You've heard Antoinette make a call. You've heard Sharif make a call. Scott has made a call. You choose. Will it be through your behavior, joining a network? Will it be you who are marching? Is it you who will donate funds, what Scott calls green energy? Will it be you who says, I'm going to take a deeper dive into my own study of self-awareness so that I can bring more of my authentic being to this movement that needs to happen? Because it's only through recognizing that there are those who need healing, upliftment, and opportunity that we all can give our gifts. And when we're all giving our gifts, that's the synergy. That's the synergy of us becoming a true family. So I want to leave you with a specific practice, which is activating your A's through activating the heart and through envisioning this net of Indra, that we are integrally. There's no way out of it. We're all connected. And either everyone is lifting up the net, or if there's a pull downward, we're all losing energy. We're all losing light. So it's up to each of us to do our part to lift up. Now, the last thing, this is something that so many of my friends who are Caucasian have asked me. What do I do? Mm-hmm. So I boiled it down to one thing. If you're not sure whether what you're saying or doing could be harmful in this context of racism, ask yourself, how would I feel? It's so simple. How would I feel? I've had some of my closest friends say things to me that were shocking, like, what's wrong with you, Black people? Or why don't you do this differently? Then it would be that way. And for me, what I'm hoping for and asking for is a level of awareness that says, I'm not sure what to do, but I'm thinking of doing this, or I think I feel this, or I wonder if you check this out with me, how can I be of the greatest service? So it's asking a question. If you're not sure, just ask the question. And for those who are being asked the question, I can guarantee you most of us who look like me or were raised like me or come from a culture like mine would be open to that heartfelt question. So I'm going to close right on the dot, I hope, Scott, that the most important thing is to remember we're in this web of life together, and we are here to learn how to love unconditionally. That's the curriculum for life, to learn to love unconditionally. Thank you.
That was brilliant, just brilliant. And now I'm feeling guilty that I said to you at some point, Brenda, keep it to 8 minutes, because every second was so well utilized. And Brenda and our other presenters are all going to come back. We're going to have a roundtable conversation to complete our main show tonight. But Brenda, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for answering that question that, as a person of Caucasian, we are wanting to know what can we do. And thank you for that reminder. Let's just slow down and think before we speak, and ask and not tell. Ask and not tell. Thank you. People can reach Dr. Brenda, by the way, by going to, for those of you that are on Facebook, and just put in Dr. Brenda Wade. And that's a wonderful way to reach her. That's what showed up on my thing. Is your website up yet?
You know, our new website is launching at the end of next week. I'm so excited. But also, Scott, if I may very quickly, anyone who does want to reach out, you can get a free teleseminar from me, get one of our Zoom seminars. Those are an hour and a half long on the second Thursday of every month. And I would be honored to have you join us and do a deeper dive into this kind of integrative work.
And where do they find the information on that, Brenda?
If you go, it won't be on the website till the new one launches, but just send me an email and I'll send you a link, a Zoom link, so you can jump in.
All right, and Debbie will put your email address in.
Thank you. It's love, L-O-V-E, as you might have guessed, at docwade.com.
That's easy, love@docwade.com. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Brenda and all of our guests are going to be back in a little bit, so we'll get more of her. All right, well, we go again from one magnificent soul to the next, and I get to introduce Ivy Hilton. For those of you in the early show, I mentioned it before, Ivy set a new record. This is the third week in a row that she's been on my Saturday night show. Because each week, what we're doing is like so pertinent for her. And for any of you who didn't meet her before, she's a holistic, integrative health practitioner. And she specializes in contemplative interventions for wholeness and well-being. I'm going to read those words again because it's such a powerful combination of words, and think about how important this is. She specializes in contemplative interventions for wholeness and well-being. Most of us know her for her sound healing and her sacred performance artistry work. But she's got so many more things. She's a mindfulness licensed psychotherapist, a nationally certified restorative justice trainer, which is why I invited her to be on tonight's show, a recording artist, and so much more. So, Dr. Ivy, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Wow. I'm being deeply blessed by this opportunity to just be here and watch this beautiful, beautiful energy that is flowing through my computer screen right now. And it is truly a blessing. Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. So please tell us about the work that you're doing and take it away.
Okay, well, there is some controversy that's out there that says social justice and restorative justice don't blend, but I'm one to say that that is not true. I really believe that social justice and restorative justice are absolutely married to one another because what we need is love. And I'm so happy that Dr. Wade brought that up because the energy of love, which is actually the name of my new EP that's coming out, Frequency of Love, is being able to tune into those frequencies so that we can raise our level of awareness, raise our heart chakras. And when I'm thinking about harm, I said, all right, what will I share when I come here? As a restorative justice practitioner here in the Washington, D.C. area, we have a company called Youth and Families in Crisis, Ma'at Institute for Restorative Justice. And one of our main objectives is training professionals who are out there doing this social justice work, doing this justice reform work so that they can build their skills and be extremely effective. And mostly what we're focused on is how do you first help yourself to transform through the process of various practices. And one of the things that I wanted to share today around what we're doing is the Circles of Hope and Healing Project. When I think about social justice and I think about violence that we're having in our communities right now, one of the things that we've discovered that in certain communities, in most of the communities where violence is really taking a strong hold, is that that whole concept of gentrification is causing a lot of conflict, stress, tension, and anger. And most people aren't aware of how to manage that anger. And I love the idea of the neurological work that Dr. Wade is doing, because what we are creating is a new medicine for the 21st century, using sound frequencies to create neural pathways in the brain that give us new ideas of how to be. And that is what restorative justice is. It is a philosophical construct of how to behave, what to believe, and how to be. And the Circles of Hope and Healing is a project that we started teaching individuals how to run healing circles, where we can have these deep conversations with individuals that we're in conflict with, to try to create peace in a very challenging community where we can learn and build relationships with one another, where we can begin to shift our hearts and our minds and creating that alignment that Dr. Wade was talking about. How do we find that space? How do we find that place? How can we be open to the idea of healing? By being responsible for the words that come out of our own mouths, by being responsible for making sure that we impact one another with positive energy, by creating better communication and relationships with one another. So what we do is we go around the city and actually in other areas around the country, teaching circle keeping as a way of bringing peace, having an opportunity to speak around what social justice is in our lives, discussing inequities, and building those relationships that create those bonds that are necessary to make that transformative shift in society, in our communities, in our families. We focus on justice that transforms not only social relations, but also social structures. So having these circles, having people who are skilled in how to run the circles is very critical. It's not just a group, it's not just a talk circle. It is a spiritual design on how to connect heart, mind, soul in conversation, particularly difficult conversations, and then coming up with solutions of how we will build better relationships with one another, and more specifically, how we will build relationships with ourselves. We teach this in the school systems. We teach this in law enforcement. We teach this in communities where individuals are literally on the ground, boots on the ground, addressing, preventing, and strengthening those lives of individuals that are involved in violence. And we connect that violence to the social injustices that are going on in the community. So we want everybody to learn how to become a circle facilitator where you can literally guide and direct real conversations that will result into positive outcomes.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to go to gallery view so you can see all the people just thanking you, and you're getting a lot of love right now.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got to do it. We can have conversations, we can have conflict, but if you don't have the skills to actually have that conversation, it can turn into more violence, more trauma, more stress. So we view everybody as the potential leader of your family, of your community, as the one to lead that conversation so that we can shift consciousness, change minds, and build better relationships with one another. And I wish I could do that, go over there in Russia and do it, and to Ukraine so that we can actually help individuals to have this conversation, because you're going to talk about that at the after show, because this is very serious what is going on when we do not understand how to address our own trauma. I thought I was going to talk about post-slavery trauma and how that's relative to social justice, but it's all relative. I want people to learn how to run these healing circles so that people in your community will have that opportunity to raise their consciousness, release that trauma from the heart, and really replace it with love. And I leave with the idea or the challenge of the 40 days of love, that from this moment on, for at least 40 days, every time you get upset, every time you see a social injustice, something that is not working out for you, embrace it with love and see the power of the outcome that could come.
Beautiful. Ivy, how would you like people to reach you if to learn more about the training?
Oh, well, you can give me a call. I'm just actually going to put my phone number out there. Is that all right?
Absolutely, if you're willing. We're all family here.
Yes, it's 301-395-0460. You can also go to drivysoundspa.com and send me an email, or youth and families with IES in crisis.com. And that is how you can reach me.
And here's the Dr. Ivy Sound Spa website. And there's a lot going on there. So if you go to contact, you can contact her that way.
Yes.
But Dr. Ivy, I also would love for you to share with us, you've got something really special happening next weekend, next Friday night. Tell us
Yes.
about this.
Well, this is going to be a very private release experience on Zoom with the new EP that is entitled Frequency of Love. It is a series of 5 sonic meditations that are designed to uplift, heal, restore, and empower each and every soul on this planet. And on the 11th, I actually am doing an initial listening event for those that are listening today and people who are in our private circle, where we will have an opportunity to do some soul reflection and deep relaxation and healing together.
Beautiful.
Go to the website, register. You have to register to participate. And I would love to see you there.
Oh, thank you so much. It's Terry Russo's birthday on Friday the 11th. So,
Oh,
Terry, we love you. She's one of our regulars. So that might be a wonderful way, Terry, for you to celebrate your birthday. There's Terry. I'm going to put her on for a moment.
hey,
There's Terry.
Terry.
Hey, how are you? Peace. That would be perfect. I'd love to spend my birthday that way. Couldn't be a better way to do it.
Yes, bring your candle, incense, your essential oils. We're going to anoint our entire bodies, and we are going to take our favorite tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy the frequencies of love.
Wow, that's awesome. Really amazing.
Scott, this is
Yes.
Sharif. I wanted to echo something that Ivy just said. And I see it's being echoing in the chat also about going to Russia and talking to the people there, Russia and Ukraine. I've been to Russia 3 times and recognize something that I've recognized around the world is that all of us really are the same. Same hopes, same fears, same misunderstandings of reality, etc. I wanted to say another thing, and Scott, unfortunately, I will not be able to do the after show event, but we talk about how Russia changed and how it opened up, et cetera, and all the State Department work, et cetera. The real work was done on the ground by citizen diplomats who had no training, no education, but they just knew that people to people had to create something. And during the Cold War, they just bought plane tickets and went to Russia and started talking to people. Russia started coming over here and talking, and all that talking loosened up our State Department, loosened up the Kremlin, and that created the groundwork. So someone, I had the quote up here, someone said, they would support you going to Russia and talking to people. I would support them going to Russia along with you and talking to people. What we need to be doing is not be dizzied by all the rhetoric we're seeing in the newspapers and recognize these are human beings hurting other human beings on all sides. And what we need to get done is to get all sides to talk to each other and not shoot at each other. I actually did this in Sri Lanka. We don't have the time to talk about the peace efforts in Sri Lanka, but we got a shooting war to stop and stop nonviolently. At some point in time, Scott, maybe we can get on and talk about the Sarvodia and Dr. Aryaratne and that peace process. Maybe even get Dr. Aryaratne to show up on the program. We did everything we needed to do, and it worked. It's amazing and people don't pay attention to it, but yeah, it definitely worked. So yeah, just buy a plane ticket, go and open up your heart and see what you can do.
Beautiful. I'm a big yes for that suggestion, so we'll talk about that and we'll make that happen, Sharif. And Ivy,
Can I
thank
say
you so
something
much.
to Ivy?
Thank you. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I love what she said about the love, because that was actually the title of one of Pato's album, which is called Love is the Greatest. And that comes from a quote that we both read from the Urantia book called Devote Your Life to Proving that Love is the Greatest Thing in the World.
Wow.
And so the album is totally dedicated towards all the different aspects of love, that's the most powerful thing that you can do. And it became like my anthem, my mantra, my theme song, that's my mission. If nothing else, it's the most powerful weapon in the world. But thank you so much. I love what you're doing. And I would love to get into one of your sound healing meditation things.
Okay, well, we're connected now at the hip for life. So I do have the Sound Spa. It is on Facebook and it's on YouTube, Dr. Ivy's Sound Spa, that I actually started the month after, well, the month of when we first started the pandemic. And I would do it once a week, you know, until maybe about 5 or 6 months ago when I started working on this new project.
Part of my healing. It's part of my
Yes.
healing. That's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I'm missing is the bowls, because I got the music, but I don't have the bowls.
Oh, well,
Right.
you've got to get the
What I-
bowls.
something.
You've got to get the bowls. You know,
Gotta get
what
the
we
bowls.
know now about the research around brainwave entrainment, that all we have to do is put our bodies into the resonance of those singing crystal bowls that have those high frequencies. And we're starting to learn what I'm calling the soul language of the various frequencies, the 528s, the 432s, all of those frequencies, our soul knows. And is
100%.
and it needs it. So that's what the frequency of love is all about, is just coming into that space of those frequencies, immersing your cellular structure in these frequencies and integrating it with intentional thought forms. And we know now that light is faster than sound and thought is faster than light. And it's
Yes.
something about integrating your thoughts with the sound that equals instant manifesting consciousness. I say it's the
100%. I'm in. And
yes,
out
yes.
of what's happening here, something just came to me that I want to put in the conversation, if you don't mind. Sharif, when you were talking about people ending conflict by speaking, the person who launched all of the conversations with Russia was Henry Dakin. And some of you remember Dakin toys, the nonviolent toys. It just came to me, the children of Ukraine and Russia could use some nonviolent toys right about now. So I don't know who's in charge of that, but things are emerging from this conversation. And that just came up for me, is that these children who are caught in the middle, there were pictures of the children being taken out of the country by strangers because their parents were sending them away to safety. Wherever those children are, if we can send them love and send them cuddly toys, because that light touch, you know, we all know about light touch, is so important to heal their nervous systems right now. So thank you so much, Dr. Ivy. I'm in. I'm going to be there. I've done so much of the crystal bowl healing. I love it. I want to bathe in the sound with you.
All right.
I'm in
Ooh,
too.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
That's what we're
Yes,
doing
yes.
this weekend. I'm bringing Nina in there as well too.
Hello. We're
All right. Well,
waiting to
I am
come back.
totally committed to
Are
it
you
today.
in SoCal, Ivy?
No, I'm in Washington, D.C.
That's okay. The sound transmits
Coming
across
out
the
there
distance.
then.
We all
Yes,
know.
well, but
Speaking of the sound,
I think I'm going to be coming to Agape very soon.
Oh my God.
perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll be calling you because we want to book you to do part of our training too. I'd love to
Awesome.
have you as a guest.
Yes,
Here
we'll
too.
stay in contact.
I love it. I'm just like a proud papa right now.
And Scott,
Dr.
you're the
Ivy,
master of finding resources online. Can you find where we can send toys or gifts for toys to children in Ukraine or Russia? Scott's like the master of finding everything.
Scott, I need to jump in.
Yes, Fumi. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm hearing children toys in Ukraine. You know, part of this program, we sponsored teddy bears for the children of Ukraine campaign.
Okay.
Big yay. And she did the same thing as Nina Meyerhoff from Children of the Earth, One Humanity Institute. She did this right after 9/11. She went and a truckload of teddy bears and handed them out. And she saw the magic of having these kids hug something, you know,
Yes.
and to know that they're being cared for. And so she left to Poland. She left 3 days ago, and she launched her campaign for teddy bears. And she has a GoFundMe page, and she raised a whole bunch of funds.
Send the GoFundMe, please. So
Yeah,
we can
she's
jump
gonna be
in.
able
Oh my
to-
God.
She's on the ground. She's at the border. She's handing out
You
teddy
have the-
bears.
Scott,
Really
you have the page to put up in the chat for us?
great. Okay.
Yes, I just put it in the chat.
Beautiful. Thank you. See how this energy works? I love it.
Amazing.
Oh my
It's
God.
very, very powerful, very, very powerful. And it's so, I wanted to add something to that because it is something very healing, particularly for children to embrace. And I'm watching my
Yes.
little puppies do the same thing. They love those, little furry toys. But when we're doing circle with children who have been involved directly in violence, and even some of the young people who are shooters on the street, when we go do circle, we use a furry puppy or doggy or
Yes.
bear as a talking piece, as the talking stick. And
Right.
when they get it, they turn into little children. So it is very healing for them.
Okay, I just pulled
Thank
up the flyer for that project.
There it
There it
is.
is.
And today it was launched during our live event. They were all in Auschwitz together. So I think you can, well, Dot put the GoFundMe link, but yeah, I mean, amazing work they're doing, and they have footage of handing out toys to the kids, and it was just so moving, so moving.
Beautiful.
So we're right on track,
You know who needs the biggest teddy bear is Vladimir Putin. He's an abandoned child.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
hurt,
that's the consciousness. Yeah.
so hurt.
God bless him.
I wonder what would happen if we did try to have a conversation with him. What would really happen?
Oh, this is
Yeah.
from Wanda. Do you guys see this in the chat about supplying firemen and policemen with stuffed animals? Thank you, Wanda.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, one of the things that the idea of talking to a Putin or talking to a Slobodan Milosevic or talking to, and this is a whole different generation, and Adolf Hitler, that your words are important. But what's more important than that is your heart. A lot of times, for a lot of different reasons, we use coded language, and the words we use actually infuriate people. Okay, it makes their separation become worse. And when I am face to face with the other, and this is what my new workbook is about, practicing the 12 steps of inclusivity. When you're face to face with the other, you have to be the one that is clear and focused and not operating from anger, hatred, or fear. And if you don't want to take the time to get your fecal matter together, then go home and watch television. Okay. I mean, it's really important that we do this, but it's not important enough for me to get my act together, And so in Sri Lanka, we spent the time to get people's act together so that when we had our meditations, when 500,000 people show up dressed in white, wearing to do a meditation, they were ready. And the leaders on both sides could hear them. There's also a lot of other stuff that we did, but I always want to keep focusing back on ourselves, that we are the ones that have to hold the energy for leaders all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do, the results can be so dramatic that they're shocking.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am loving this conversation, and I want to just come back briefly to our agenda. We are, of course, going over, which is wonderful. Everything's dynamic. But Ivy, we had talked about Ivy actually doing a little bowl for us. And so since we've heard about the power of the bowl, what I'd like to suggest, I'm going to bring Ivy back on. Ivy, are you still up for doing that? You muted.
I am. I moved the bowl just for and actually I do have one here that is really powerful. that we can use, actually, yes.
All right,
I'm
great.
open. I'm open.
And I'd like to suggest that as we just listen to the vibration of the bowl, let's do again, more prayer for Putin, more prayer for the children, or go use this opportunity to make a donation to either Antoinette's GoFundMe or the Teddy Bear GoFundMe.
Or both.
Or both. Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. That's the best call. And I want to thank all the people that have donated to Antoinette already tonight. A lot of our Global Peace Tribe members have done that. And I want to thank those of you who have donated already. And let's do that while Ivy. Now, sometimes Crystal Ball Zoom struggles with Crystal Ball, but we did a little test earlier today during our sound check, and it was okay. We were able to hear it. So, Ivy, do you need more time, or are you okay?
No, I think we're good.
All right.
I'm going to encourage everyone to focus their attention in their positive thought forms, because we don't necessarily have to be face to face to have a serious conversation with anyone. We can connect with the higher self with permission, so that we can have those difficult conversations and release into the atmosphere all stress, all tension, all anxiety, and all fear. We release right now. I encourage you to just gently close your eyes and take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In the center of my being is an infinite well of love. And I now allow this love to flow to the surface as it fills my heart, my body, my mind, consciousness. My very being feels deep peace. This love radiates out from me in all directions and returns to me multiplied. The more I love, the more I receive love. I am deep peace. The power of love, peace, and justice is in my life. And the supply is endless. I am free. Peace fills my being and becomes my thoughts, my prayers, my actions. Deep peace fills my being and becomes peace. My soul feels the peace of love, and I am a my soul is one with my spirit, and the world is a whole. Deep peace dwells within me. Deep peace lives inside of me. My soul is glad. I'm at peace with myself. I am lotus light. I am lotus light. I am in deep peace. Ashe.
Oh.
Blessings.
Ivy, that was amazing. That was just amazing. What an evening we're having together. What a beautiful evening we're having together. What a beautiful
Thank
evening.
you. Yes, it is. It's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Give thanks.
And our evening's going to continue on. I do want to let people know that we have a really special after show that we've put together. Fumi and Dot are going to share more about what took place this morning. We've got Fanny and Vegari, who are kind of like our regular after show musical presenters. They're going to play. We've got a few other surprises. So please do stay with us for the after show. We're going to give it a try. Our dear friend Josiane has been having internet challenges. And we do want to hear what you have to say, Josiane. You're such a precious part of our community. How's the evening been for you so far, other than internet challenges?
It's been amazing. Can you hear me?
Yes, everything's good. So keep your eye on me. If I'm doing this, you're good. If there's a problem, I'll go like that or I'll come on in.
Okay, that sounds great. What an evening. Oh my God. Oh, Ivy, you've been getting me to cry right now. It touches me so much. The power of your voice and the sound of the bowl, everything was transcending.
Give
So much.
thanks.
Yes, thank you so much. And I did look at your website last week, so I meant to call you. It's such an honor to see you
Give me a
today.
call.
Yeah, it's such an honor. Oh, wow. I don't even know where to start now because I had a PowerPoint and all of that. And all I feel like just telling you, I'm just going to forget about my PowerPoint, but the images were really deep, but I don't want to cry more than what I have to say right now. And just to give you a little background, I started with children and families for 12 years in a psychiatric center in Miami. And it was so touching to see the children being highly evolved, and the parents not understanding their children. So I had to go back to school and get a PhD in marriage and family therapy to understand the parents, because I couldn't help, thinking, why can't they get to listen to their children's wisdom? And it's so touching to see so many children suffering all over the world. And I'm not sure who mentioned earlier about we have to start with the children. I thought so, but I think we have to start with the adults. We have to start with the parents. We have to start with whomever is in charge, because the children are already evolved. They're just waiting for us to awaken. And when I have them in my therapy rooms, just following them into play, because play therapy is my primary love. Play is a direct road to spirituality, to God. If only parents could play for 30 minutes with their children to understand how they dissolve any type of conflicts and any entanglements in our relational space, that will be life-saving. And because it's not, and it's not happening right now, that's why I went back to school to understand adults and more especially couples. And I conducted some interviews with African-American couples. And it was so touching because they were all from different backgrounds, socioeconomic status, different educational levels, and different professional backgrounds. But they all have in common resilience and a successful love stories. Why did I center on them? It's because they were marginalized within science. Nobody was talking about them because we've been brainwashed for centuries to just look at what's wrong and not look at what's right, what works. And what works for African American is we have to go back to the source to remember that we are from the modern humans, the first humans on Mother Earth. Wherever we come back from, whatever galaxies, who cares? But the motherland had us. And from that motherland started the cradle of civilization, of all knowledge, wisdom, spirituality, togetherness, love, and compassion. So I had to go back during my dissertation to explain why African Americans today are resilient, why they never needed to have a clinic or an hospital like the survivor of the Jewish Holocaust after World War II, and why we still don't have anything like that, why do African Americans don't really go to therapy? Because also, not only that, because of the fear of what has been happening to them, because they're so resilient from one generation to another since the beginning of times. Inside their DNA, our DNA, is a code, and we all have it. We all have it. All humans have it. But through slavery, African Americans developed it more and more by caring for others. And that's what science and researchers have called compassionate love. In 1999, they all gathered together with the World Health Organization to understand what was missing on Earth. There were researchers, economists, and religious leaders from all of the parts of the world. And they decided that we needed compassion and unconditional love. And they put together this operational definition of compassionate love to explain that this is an emergency. We have to let it out and give it and spread it. Unfortunately, it stayed in science. And that's why I wrote my book, Compassionate Love in Intimate Relationships, which talks about the interviews that I led with 7 resilient African-American couples. And it was so inspiring. I was crying while they were explaining their stories of strength beyond adversity, beyond what the space is. They were able to give me 5 strategies, and I'm going to go to them right now. The first one that they all had in common in some sort, either they told me the word or they were close to it. It's breaking the chains. And it meant for them not being a statistic and being able to declare that you do not consent to any family generational curses or spell, that you do not consent to any enslavement patterns or any, how do you call that, mind control programs. And you're sending all back to source light for transmutation. That's number 1. Number 2, what they came up with is to be equally yoked, which means for them is to be able to be on the same wavelength. Okay, hold on a second, I have my stuff confirmed. Okay, here we go. It's being able to balance inside out what you have within and with your partner, and staying on the same wavelength with your spirit, heart, and soul. Harmonizing your union with sacred sexuality. All of them mention that no, they don't lose their libido. It gets increase and increase. So we have some misconception of what it is to be one in communion within our intimate relationships. And that is why it's so important to know how to dismantle and demystify what a true love, what a compassionate love relationship is. And number 3, they told me it's to find common grounds, which is to agree to disagree with compassion and love. A lot of us in this society, believe that compassion is something bad, that you're going to be suffering with the other, which was from the Latin root. But it's not that. It's not about sacrifice. It's about understanding the other and wanting the good of the other and taking action, which is totally different. And accepting also the world of the other as unique, with no judgment. Number 4 is loving beyond. And I think somebody else mentioned something close to it. I forgot who it was. But loving beyond is what they said. And that's why I wrote the book on compassionate love. But because for them, it's to raise our vibration and loving what is and staying focused on the bigger picture. And the whole book is about these strategies. And I'm going to do a TEDx next week in Trinidad. And I added a 5th strategy that came up from them, because they gave themselves permission that when they are within their relational space with their beloved and it doesn't work, they gave themselves permission to go away, to find themselves and to work in order to integrate their light and shadow, their masculine and feminine side energies, to let it come. And once they find themselves, they come back within the relationship to stay and to honor it with sacredness. So the 5th strategy that I developed from them was to love yourself first. And without doing that first, it's difficult to do the other 4 strategies, because love is the way. Thank you. And I'm going to stop because I'm afraid that my internet might not work.
Josiane, thank you so much. And you can get her love approach, book a consultation with this amazing woman. Her website is theintegrativewellness.com. theintegrativewellness.com. You can book a consultation with her. She works with couples. She works with individuals. And best of luck with your TEDx talk. That is the world needs all of you, and you for sure as well, Josiane. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And your internet did fine.
Okay.
The internet gods smiled upon us.
That was amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
All right. So I'm going to bring on Mischa, and Mischa has a really important job that he's doing. He runs his organization called Evolve Men, and we men do need to evolve. And Mischa, I'd love to just go right into asking you, what has stood out for you tonight? What maybe have you learned or taken up? As you know, we're the white guys here to learn tonight. What have you learned, or what has really struck you?
I'm been overwhelmed with the beauty of what's been shared tonight, as well as the huge amounts of just experience and wisdom that we've witnessed. I'm very, very humbled to be here, and I'm going to keep it quick so that we can go back to letting the panelists who are really here to share their wisdom have a discussion if we've still got time. I think the biggest thing, or my role here, is to echo that I am a white man who has confronted his racism through the work of the Dr. Reverend Bridge Feltus, who I believe was a guest last night. And by confronted, I mean that as a result of that, I am in the process always of confronting. And I think that's a big lesson, that as much as we talk about love and peace as white people, it's our responsibility to be in an ongoing process of confronting the racism that our society has given us. And I stand here humbled by that, and to be here to echo that statement. Briefly, my work in men's work comes from a lineage of mythopoetic men's work, which is mostly drawn from white Americans who drawing from many other cultures, and mythopoetic men's work and men's work in general in America as a lineage is also very problematic and fraught with white supremacy and racism. In many ways, it is a response to the alienation specifically felt by straight white men in America. A lot of the practice that I do of supporting primarily white men to take accountability for harms they've done has to do with a specific kind of alienation that straight white men feel in this country, and by extension do harm. So I am humbled to be here, and without getting too deeply into my work, my website's going to be shared, and I'd like to get back to the rest of the panelists.
So here it is. His website is evolve.men, evolve.men, and we all need that. So please want to encourage men and women to join his movement. Give your email address. You can track what he's doing. Right at the top, you'll see Black Lives Matter, support the Hidden Genius Project. Just tell us a little bit about that, Mischa.
Sure. This is a nonprofit that I respect a lot that's doing great, overlapping work with both masculinity and boyhood in Oakland. So it's local, and it's a project that I respect, that's run in a way that I really respect, and that I wanted to direct the attention of people who are coming to my website to that project. Boy, there's so much, there's so much here. I've seen so much of a parallel between the white men who I support to take accountability after doing sexual harm to the plight of very many white people across this country who have started realizing that they have done harm, and there is this coming out of the matrix style process of awakening, which is often very, very ugly and painful and scary. To truly realize that you've done harm and that you can't hide anymore is a process that I support my clients to go through. And it is, again, I'm going to direct the attention of the group to the Reverend Bridge Feltus, who specializes in supporting, or one of the things she does is supporting white people to go through this process, or people racialized as white to go through that kind of initial out of the matrix awakening into the reality of the harm that you may already or be doing or be perpetuating. And it is scary, and there's a lot of parallels to the work that I do with men primarily after they've done sexual harm and helping them take accountability, which is in part that it can be incredibly both humbling and scary, but also deeply liberating. Mm-hmm. Deeply, deeply liberating to not rely on the absence of conscious hate in your heart for you to tell yourself that you're all good. To look at harm as something that you may have done without any hate in your heart, without any conscious intention, to truly understand and accept that is itself a liberatory practice. And I got to tell you, white men are not used to talking about liberating themselves, especially not in this country. Liberation is for all those other people. But boy, it is so critical to liberate ourselves as white people of the harms that white supremacy and the superiority that our society has wrongly given us, due to us as well as to others.
Thank you, Mischa. That is beautifully, beautifully stated. Beautiful. I am going to bring all of our other presenters back up. And we had originally hoped to have a 45-minute roundtable conversation. We are at 8:28, and I was supposed to end the show by 8:30. And but I do want to give everybody a chance for one last thing to share, and then we will transition into our after show. And I still have to do the Global Peace Tribe announcements as well. And we have Fanny and Vegari waiting in the wings to play music. But for our beautiful presenters, Nina had to go. She had another event. I'd love to give each of you an opportunity to share a final thought, a final conclusion for now. I also just, since Mischa brought up Reverend Bridge Feltus, if you didn't watch last night's Friday night show, The Awakening World, go back and watch it. You can find it on Facebook, you can find it on Unify, you can find it on my page, or if you belong to Global Peace Tribe, you'll get a replay. And all people who belong to Global Peace Tribe get the replay on Monday with all the recordings of all of our shows. Go back and watch what Reverend Bridge has to say, or go to the rememberinstitute.com. It's powerful. Sharif, do you want to get us started with some closing thoughts for tonight?
Sure, I can do that. One of the things I'm doing right this second is putting up all of my contact information into the chat box, books, website, TED Talk, Social Security number, just the whole nine. And I had, I'm setting my timer right now. Sorry about that. And I had a thought that in all that we've talking about, and this is something I talk a lot about in terms of paying attention to the baby and paying less attention to the afterbirth. For those of us who have been involved in a birthing process, me as a spectator, and my wife, my ex-wife 3 times, with our 3 daughters, the birthing process is amazingly messy. And there's yelling and screaming and junk gushing out and, after birth and all this other stuff. And through all this process, which is amazingly painful, you get a baby. And as soon as you get that baby, you forget all of that other stuff. My ex was saying, I'll never get pregnant again in the middle of the labor. Why did you do this to me? And then the baby pops out, and 2 weeks later, she said, let's do this again. And so the thing in our society that I would encourage us to do is for us to pay attention to the fact that we're having a baby. If you aren't paying attention to that, you get the impression that everything is going to hell and we're all going to die. Something happened in Uganda, actually within the last year, I think. Woman's having a baby. She and her husband go to the hospital. They get all checked out. Everything is fine. She goes into labor and she starts leaking and junk gushing out and all this other stuff. And there's a baby. So they take the baby home. They sweep all the other stuff off down the street. And a week later, she's having amazing pain. And she is so much in pain. They go back to the hospital. She's yelling and screaming. They detect a mass in her abdomen. They rush her into emergency surgery. And before they go into surgery, she has another baby. One of the rare women with 2 wombs. Her husband got her pregnant in both of the wombs a week apart. And she has 2 babies a week apart, and they're not twins. They're 2 separate babies. Now, up until the time the baby pops out, everybody's thinking she's going to die. When we start looking at all the things that are happening in our society right now, domestically and internationally, we start thinking, we're all going to die. It's like, no, we're just having a baby. So I will, I would love to go on for another few hours. I won't. In fact, I have to make a really hard stop at around 8:45. I apologize for that. I do have a workshop coming up in the very near future.
I have pulled that up. So I do have the website up.
Okay.
And I do want to urge everyone to take this workshop on the 12 steps of inclusivity. And he's giving us a special discount So use the Awakening discount and tell us a little bit about what's going to take place during this workshop.
So this workshop is okay. I'm going to reset my timer for 1 minute now. Okay, stop, start, stop, reset, start. It's based on my new workbook, Practice the 12 Steps of Inclusivity. The question is, how do you interact with your other? And the other is the person that you have difficulty dealing with. That person could be a person of a different color, a different ethnicity, a different gender. It could be the Uncle Ralph that you always have problems talking with at Thanksgiving. But whoever it is, how do you interact with them? And how do you bring your authentic self to doing that interaction? Once you can do that, once you can start talking about having a loving interaction with someone, you're in a much better shape. But it's a different thing to talk about it than to actually practice it, which is why that word's written in red, is practicing the 12 steps of inclusivity. And over a 6-week process, that's what we get to do. 1 minute. Okay. So I will, I've given you a $50 discount over the $300 price of the workshop. The discount is in the link that's in that's in the chat right now. If you use the other link that's in the website, it's $300, but only for you, for people who are watching this, who are there for Friday and who will be there tomorrow. You get the $50 discount on that. Oh, and I guess I didn't mention, I also get a free book. So that's me talking. That's me doing speed talking, and blessings to all. This has been a really, really powerful program. I've learned a lot. I'm very much aware that a lot of this power is coming from Black women, and ta-da. So thank you, and I will. For those of you who want to come tomorrow, I think I'll talk a little slower tomorrow. Okay. But for those of you who are coming tomorrow, I think we'll have a chance to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you, Sharif. And I know you need to go, but since you brought it up, tomorrow is kind of our third of every Awakening World. We do a Friday night, a Saturday night, and a Sunday morning. And tomorrow it's going to be, what are our action steps for social and racial justice? And Sharif will be back with me co-hosting, and Dr. Marty Casey, one of our favorite presenters, will be with us, and Oshala D, who I've been working with for 40 years. Oshala first came to work for my theater company when I was 24 and she was 18 years old, and we've been collaborating on and off on different things for 40 years. So please join us tomorrow morning. And that's always at 10 o'clock in the morning. All of you watching on Facebook, all the same Facebook channels, YouTube channels, and of course, Zoom Room. It is a different Zoom Room number, but if you've joined Global Peace Tribe, you've got the link to join us. I think I'm going to go to you, Dr. Brenda, next. And we also want to tell people about a very special event that we've added. But let me turn over to whatever you want to, whoops, I accidentally removed you. I want to pin you. There you go. Hi there.
Hi. Oh, I am so just full, just holding the blessings, the energy from Dr. Ivy, Dr. Josiane, Dr. Sharif, just beyond the beyond. And I'm grateful, Scott, that you hold this space that you do. It's incredible. You're like a vortex for drawing in all this energy, all this light, and all this love. And I feel the ignition very, very deeply. I want to just take a moment, if I might, like 30 seconds. I'm also hosting the free seminar that I talked about. And that seminar is focused on the intersection of love and money. Because for our seminar and training this month, March is Money Month, and it is the number one reason that people have anxiety, the number one reason that couples fight, the number one cause of divorce, and we don't understand our relationship with this energy that we call money. So the introduction is my gift to you. You can come and check it out, see if you get the value. And I am so hitting up my colleagues tonight. All of you are going to do some joint training with me on my platform. So just expect the call. I want the singing bowls. My specialty is working with couples around money and helping people who aren't in couples yet get in one that works. So I'm thrilled to be part of anything Scott does. And you have assembled people tonight that I just bow down. I bow down.
Well, thank you. And you've assembled something that we're going to do together tomorrow, Dr. Brenda. Tell us about, and this, by the way, is a event that we just put together in the last 3 days. It's going to be Sunday night at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern. Tell us about it.
Very quickly, Invisible History is an award-winning film documentary just done by my sister friend, Valerie Schoon, that you see in the center. Val just won an Emmy for this film. And I have to tell you with all humility, when I saw her film, I was in Tallahassee for the premiere. It was the first time I truly understood what economic disparities are and how that history of economic disparities gives rise to so many of the things that we have come together to heal. So we have on our panel Valerie, who is the filmmaker. She was Oprah's filmmaker for 7.5 years. She was a creative director of Harpo Films. So she is no joke, as we say. We also have her sister, Cecile Schoon, who's the president of the Florida State League of Women Voters. And it wasn't until they hired me to be a speaker that I understood what the League of Women Voters was. It's nonpartisan. It's Democratic and Republican women and women of whatever stripe in terms of their politics coming together for one reason, to make sure everybody gets to vote. So she's a powerhouse, believe me. And Lindbergh Porter, who is a lawyer who devotes his time, very senior, very experienced lawyer, devotes his time these days to working on reversing all the voter suppression that is happening, especially across the South. And not just voter suppression, but you guys may know that the Florida legislature just passed a whole slate of bills taking away women's reproductive rights, taking away rights to vote. So we're going to talk about how we as people who are conscious, who are woke, can be part of healing the invisible history by first understanding it and igniting, of course, social and racial justice. So please join us. And thank you, Scott, for agreeing in this very spontaneous way to host this additional event. And you guys, you'll get to see clips from the film, of course, and it's powerful, trust me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much
My
for putting
pleasure.
that together. And everybody, come join us. You know, I want to acknowledge our viewers. I want to acknowledge people watching this. There's a lot of choices we have on a Saturday night. And especially now that the pandemic appears to be ending, we can go out more easily. And I want to thank the hundreds of people in our Zoom room and watching on Facebook and watching on YouTube that have chosen to delve into this work and to delve into this understanding. Thank you. And let's continue it. We've got 2 more chapters, if you will, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Let's tell our friends. We need to all come together. And look at what a great night it's turned out to be, right? It's been a beautiful evening. So thank you, Dr. Brenda.
My honor.
I'm going to bring up Ivy and Josiane. You don't have to share anything with Mischa, but as our wonderful presenters, is there, before we go into the after show and the Global Peace Tribe announcements, anything else that any of you feel called or inspired to share?
Well, thank you. I really do, and it's very quick and simple. Something that, as a conscious creation life therapist, that I've always asked. And the question is, what are you doing? What are you creating? And what does your soul need to do right now about it? So if you could just follow that soul guide, then the world will be a better place. Then we will be able to find a way to open our hearts and see the unseen, or see that which we have tried to resist all of our lives. But it is time now, as that transformation is happening. It looks like one thing, but as we heard earlier, when we're creating something new, it's like a birth. And it doesn't feel good. But I like the idea of riding the wave by paying attention to what are you doing? What are you creating? And what does your soul need right now to do about it? And then do it.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Antoinette, there you are. I was looking for you. Thank you again, Ivy. And again, all of you are welcome to stay for our after show. We're going to roll right into it in a moment. And of course, if any of you need to go, have dinner, whatever it is, that's okay too. Antoinette, do you have any thoughts that you wish to share?
Yes. Well, first I wanted to say, something to Mischa. I was looking at your page, and that's really important work that you're doing. And I think that's pretty, courageous for you to come out and admit, that you're taking Dr. Briggs' course, because I don't think a lot of people are going to really be bragging about taking that course, because I know it's pretty hardcore. And I know Trisha's taken it, and she's taken it again twice, which I'm really impressed about that. And one of the things that I've noticed about for people who are taking these type of anti-racism course, that it takes a special type of personality to be able to step out into to hear hard truths, and to be able to hear these truths without feeling the egos and things associated and being involved with. And I want to encourage, hopefully what you've been able to do, I hope other white people will continue to do, as well as white women, because that is going to be a topic of discussion in the future about their roles as far as upholding white supremacy in today's society, even though whether it's subconscious or conscious or not, but just being able to have the honest conversations without having the divisiveness, but able to come together with shared truths and harmony. I think we're really going to move forward in a very beautiful space. So thank you so much for doing that. And I, not to pat you on the back for doing the right thing, but but also that one organization that you're supporting also, because that is important when people do want to support Black Lives Matter type of organizations. People who are working with the youth is important. Working with children is important, because sometimes I feel like, I tell my husband, even with our own ministry, it's like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but he's the kind of minister, he will help every single person, which I support that. But I also think that I kind of get behind women and children, because I believe children, they never got a chance, and they deserve to sit there and have extra more effort involved with them. And then also for women, because I feel like women have been getting dogged out for way too long anyways. We need more help. And that's also part of the rise of the divine feminine, which I'm seeing with so many women, even here and last night and week after week. There is definitely a rise of the divine feminine. And I salute all of you ladies, for all your wonderful work, because that's actually the kind of work that I'm moving myself into as the Antoinette 2.0 going into the future. The health, wellness, the mind, body, and spirit, my own 432 beats with the sounds and the binary frequencies and everything. I'm going to become the scientific, spiritual expert on all of this stuff.
Fantastic.
So,
And I want to remind everybody, please, thank you, first of all, like Terry Russo just donated. Thank you to everybody who's donated.
Oh, thank you, Terry. And I've been watching your stuff, and she needs help herself. She's not going through easy times herself. And it's always the ones who are going through tough things. And I see that, and I recognize that. And thank you so much, Terry, because that really makes me feel good, because I know you're going through some hard things. And I saw that, and not everybody is, is always doing well, but even the people who are going through hard times are still very giving to help other people. And I know that this blessings will always come back tenfold upon you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And just so you guys know, all of this healing that me and Scott had been discussing was for me to go to the bougie hospitals and stuff. But in actuality, this healing isn't just for me and my healing at the bougie hospital. This healing is for me to help other people to be able to heal, because if it's just me healing at the bougie hospital, then other people won't be able to heal as well too. So, you know, this healing journey is not just my own journey, but it's going to be for other people's journey as well, you know, who are also trying to go their own route and their own method. And the things that we share and we learn and we know, we're always going to be in this together. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Antoinette, for being with us this weekend. I love you, and I know that I will be connecting with you again, hopefully very, very soon. All right, we are going to roll right into the after show. And we're going to hear from Fanny and Vegari in a moment, but I want to bring on Fumi, and I want to bring on Dot. And I'm imagining that you two have both been up for quite a while. But please do share a little bit, and you'll have a chance to share after Fanny and Vegari play music. But please do give us just a little bit of a taste of what has already taken place today, and then what you'd like to share during this time we're going to spend together over this next 30 or 40 minutes.
So let me start by saying thank you. And thank you to everyone, these such powerful women who have given voice to spirit, to divine essence, and to the power of love. And I've often said, if love is not the answer, we are asking the wrong question. And it's just, I am just so moved to be with so many sisters. And Antoinette, every time you speak, my heart sings. So yeah, nice to meet all of you, and grateful to be in such sacred in such sacred circle with so many sisters. And when Nina sang that song and said, "Love is the heart of everything, love is who we are." Yeah. So I have this T-shirt that reads "Love More," and it's that truly is where it's at. And thank you for all the work you're all doing to bring social and racial justice to the fore. And Sharif and Mischa, blessings on you and your work. So as we had the event this morning, my time this morning, Scott, and what we'll talk about after some music is how James Twyman called us together, and Nina went for the Teddy Bear Project, and Fumi hosted this gorgeous event with Unify, Adil's Unify, put it out on broadcast, and we offered a global silent minute as a synchronized one love meditation, calling for global cooperation, peace, and freedom. And we'll talk more about that and how so many of the children, and thank you for mentioning the children, the adults. We all have a child within, right? So we'll talk about that, and we'll share some thoughts and how that went. But thank you for inviting us too. And again, just so grateful to be in sacred circle with everyone.
Thank you, Dot. We're looking forward to hearing from you and Fumi. And again, we have a lot to integrate, and a wonderful way to integrate is through music. And Fanny and Vegari have really become our after show king and queen, if you will. They are almost always here sharing their beautiful music. And their music is just, it's perfect integration music. So welcome, coming to us from British Columbia, up in the great Pacific Northwest. We have a lot of Pacific Northwest energy tonight with Sharif from Portland and the two of you. What do you have for us? And they're going to play two songs, one now and one at the end. What do you have for us tonight, Fanny or Vegari?
Oh, we have a beautiful song that we wrote in collaboration here, Vegari, sweet Vegari and I, called Breathe. But before we get into the song, I just reminded of what Deva Premal and Mitan said the other day, as as there's so much war in the world, are we okay to be happy? Should we? Is it okay to be happy? And today on my way to work, because my work, believe it, is I work as a fairy unicorn clown for many, many years. It's a lifetime. And today on my way to the big city, after so many years not working, I'm driving this beautiful, beautiful clown van, and then I decide to listen to the news, and then before I listen to the news, I dare say thank you, universe, for bringing me this beautiful life. I'm so grateful. The sky is blue, and I have this work to shine the light, the love, and the compassion to the children. And then bing, I turn on the news and my heart sinks because the news was all about the war and all about the children and all about the total darkness, total darkness. So on my way there, I just listen a little bit and I go to my work, and then I go back into my light, and then I see the children that are so happy, they don't know what's going on. They are pure love, pure light. And I know in my heart of hearts that I am a messenger of the stars, and I am to shine the light. And so the children today inspired me to give more light and focus on my light and focus on the light, so there will be a bigger heart that will shine and that will help bring compassion and love, because love is the medicine and love is all we need.
Yes, that certainly is true. And what I've been hearing tonight from all the panelists is that in spite of all the darkness that we're surrounded by in this day and age, there's still hope, and there's still, under the radar, things that you don't hear on the news, on the mainstream news. There are programs being put into place that, give us cause to believe that we are headed for a brighter day, and that is cause for, to remember that there is some joy, behind, at the end of all of this, at the end of the tunnel. There is some light, some joy that we can be reunited with. And so yes, joy is still very valid in our lives, and it's good to remember that that's basically what we are, is joy. That's what we're made from love, and love is joy. And so yes, we do have cause to celebrate every once in a while, just in appreciation of all the things that we dream of, the better world that we long for. Mm-hmm. And we think that it is coming. So there we are.
We are creating our world with our loving. So this song is called Breathe. So if you are inspired, get off your computer and dance and move your body a little. It says, breathe. There's a fresh wind blowing through.
Set things right. Breathe, there's a fresh wind blowing through. Breathe, let the good life into you.
It's a celebration as we rise above. We be together in the arms of love. We are earth angels, spreading peace and love for the love of us all. We can rise in love, in love.
Breathe, there's a fresh wind blowing through. Breathe, let the good life into you. There's a transformation going on around you. Can you see the reflection of something that you're feeling inside? It's a revelation. We the people together in a love revolution for the sake of the world. Breathe, there's a fresh wind blowing through. Breathe, let the good life into you. Breathe, there's a fresh wind blowing through. Breathe, let the good life into you.
The prophecy says of the white buffalo, it will come. Here we are, the rainbow people are rising, rising. Here we are, the earth lovers, the peacemakers. We are awakening, a new earth is rising. Here we are.
Here we are.
As we rise in love, as we rise in love.
Ooh la le hey ya,
Oh la le,
ooh la le hey,
oh la le,
ooh la le hey ya,
oh la le,
ooh la le hey,
oh la le,
ooh la le hey ya,
oh la le,
ooh la le hey.
ayam ayere, wamba yere,
Ooh la le hey,
Thank you so much for, first of all, what you shared before your song. And it's a good question about, are we allowed to be joyful? How can we balance gratitude for the safety that we are all blessed to be having, gratitude obviously for our privileges, while being compassionate to what's going on for those who are suffering? So it's a good question. And thank you for what you do, Fanny, whether it's being a clown and delighting the children by day and delighting us adults by night, along with your beautiful partner, Vegari. And I want to encourage everybody to go to Bandcamp and get their music. Last week we were struggling to find it, but we got it now. They are the Mystiques 1111. So if you go to Bandcamp, go to the mystiques111.bandcamp.com, and there they are. There's their music, including Awaken 1111. So let's definitely support them by getting their music.
Thank you.
And they're going to close out this after show. So thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Aho.
I'm going to bring Fumi up for a minute, and Dot. And Fumi is someone I've had the joy to work with a few times now. And I have in my front yard, right on my driveway, a peace pole.
You do?
Someone got me a peace pole. And I love my peace pole. So thank you so much for that, Fumi. And
You're so welcome.
yeah. And Dot, I'm just going to turn it over to the two of you for a little bit. And your dog, or somebody's dog.
Somebody's.
Oh, it's not your dog. Okay.
Not mine.
Then whoever's dog it is, please make sure you mute. And if you feel inspired to maybe lead a meditation. Oh, hang on. Connie's got her little baby peace pole. Hang on a second. Here's Connie. I've never seen those. Those
love
are
that,
adorable.
Connie.
A little baby one.
That is a baby one. Aw.
Oh, beautiful. And thank you. Connie is one of our dear friends who, of course,
Yes.
is a regular on the show, and she provides so many wonderful things. So thank you, Connie, all the way from Colorado for being with us and showing us baby peace pole.
This is from the Caravan of Unity that
Nice.
came through
May peace,
Colorado.
may peace prevail on earth.
Yes.
Peace prevail.
May peace prevail on earth. Well, it's such a joy to be here with all of you this evening. You know, this is a peace tribe, and wow, what a moment in time in history that we're gathering. Because every gathering where we gather in love, we're sending ripples out to the world, and it's so necessary now with what is happening. So, Scott wanted us to talk to you about what we did today. Well, I think the best thing to do is show you so you can feel some of the energy that took place, the exchange that took place, some of the presentations that took place, just to visually see and feel that. So what do you think about that, Dot? We start
Yeah,
with,
I think that's a great idea.
and Scott, do I have screen share privileges?
Yes, you do. You sure
So,
do.
this first video I share, very short, it opened our program, and it was shot just this morning from Auschwitz, where the program took place. And of course, you can't have the actual program in the Auschwitz grounds, but the team was just 5 minutes away in a conference room where we had, the best available internet connection. It got a little wonky during the show, but they were just 5 minutes away from this camp. And it was just magical the way that the program came together, so that they selected somehow. They didn't know, they meaning Father James Francis and Nina Meyerhoff, who decided to just take off to Poland just a couple of days ago. They said, we want to go, we want to engage with the refugees, we want to be there, we want to go to the border of Poland and Ukraine to be of service. And of course, I talked about Nina's teddy bears for the children of Ukraine campaign. She just came up with this idea that she's going to go and launch this campaign. So these two brave peace warriors just came together, and they left to Poland, and then magic happened. We got this program together. So let's open up with Brother James Francis Twyman's video. He's an Episcopal Franciscan priest. He was known for a long time as the peace troubadour. He traveled war-torn countries such as Syria, Croatia. He was invited by Saddam Hussein to have a peace concert in Baghdad, and I can't remember when it was, so long ago. And he went to the border of Syria, the border of North and South Korea, to have these global synchronized meditation and peace events. So quite a shaker in the peace world, peace community. So let's show the opening video.
And while you're pulling that up, by the way, James has been on our show many times, including a couple of years ago.
So he's part of the
yeah, he's part of the global peace
tribe. Okay, so all right, let's show this video.
Okay.
Let me click this and do this.
In a few hours, millions of people are going to be praying for the situation in Ukraine, all the people who are suffering there. I am actually in the town of Auschwitz, where something truly diabolical happened many decades ago. Maybe you can see the tiny snowflakes that are falling around us, and it reminds me of what things may have been like when it was not snow but ashes. It's a reminder of what can happen if we are not fully dedicated to peace. This prayer vigil is a way of activating that energy wherever we are in the world, to be part of a massive gathering where people are sending their light, their love, their energy to this crisis, knowing that it's much more than the crisis in Ukraine. This is a situation for all of humanity to claim peace on the highest level. For us to be able to do that here in Auschwitz while millions of people are focused on Ukraine, even while snowflakes fall, is a reminder of our responsibility, of the love that we can share with one another that is the greatest impact imaginable.
As we watch that, Fumi, one of the questions that has been asked here in this program, is it okay to be up and happy and joyful? And I think it's a valid question for what's going on the planet right now. And yet, as was being described, like with the birth of a baby, I just want to put in the field, joy is a special wisdom. It is a very special wisdom. And while we may not be happy about what's going on, we can ever be joyful for life itself.
Yes.
And one of the things about Ukraine that we've talked about, Fumi, I'll just say one more quick thing. And in fact, Alexander was on with us. His family in the city you mentioned earlier, Scott, Harkov. And he was talking personally about his family having to evacuate. And he's in Brooklyn, New York. And as he talked about that, people they were weeping. It was just so powerful. And yet then Alexander just lifted and said, but if it's agreeable to say that there could be a gift from Ukraine, it is that we are unifying. Humanity is unifying. Europe is unifying. The whole world is unifying like never before. And we are realizing that we are one humanity, and it is about love. We must love one another. So
God,
that's
I love what you said, and I do want to just add a piece. I'm imagining that most of the people know this part of the story, but if not, uh, Ukraine has established a program where the Russian soldiers that they capture, and many of whom are deserting because they don't want to fire against Ukrainians, Ukraine is reuniting them with their families, set up a hotline where Russian mothers and family members can find out the status of their sons who have been sent against their genuine, authentic will into Ukraine. And Ukraine is arranging to give the Russian soldiers back to their mothers.
yes.
This is such an inspired idea. And on
Yes.
the world stage, what we're seeing, I believe, is a very old paradigm, almost Hitler-esque leader, and a new paradigm leader in Zelensky. And the contrast between the two is so striking. And when events like this are played out on a global stage, it really is like theater, really, helping us to look at, wow, look at the past and how painful that old way is versus this incredible new way of leadership.
Truly, Scott, all systems break down on the planet right now. We're not going to save the caterpillar, where humanity's in a chrysalis experience. We must go for the butterfly. We must go for what we want and help dry the wings of the butterfly. You're so right. And it is the rise of the feminine. And Alexander also shared that the crest or seal that we see everywhere now of Ukraine has embedded in it the purpose of Ukraine. And it's made up of two words, will and freedom. Imagine that, the will to freedom. The principle of freedom is it on this planet right now. There's such a demand. So,
And freedom comes from liberation, and liberation comes from us waking up.
Yeah.
And waking up is part of what Mischa spoke about and what we've heard tonight. We have to look at, wow, what can I do better? And not from a place of guilt or shame, but from a place of liberation for all of us to really show up in our divinity as divinity in human form.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And it's the people of Ukraine and the president as well, just demonstrating the true, it's like the divine spark of humanity just igniting, in this one place on earth, and everybody is witnessing that. And I mentioned before that we really need to learn to move away from that culture of war into the culture of peace. And I think we're seeing that firsthand, through the words and the actions of the Ukrainian people. But now that you've mentioned Dodd, Alexander, I'd like to read the mantra of unification that Alexander spoke into the field today. It's just so moving and powerful. So let me read to you the mantra of unification, which was spoken by Alexander. Mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and we are one with them. We seek to love, not hate. We seek to serve and not exact due service. We seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love which underlines the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate, and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. So moving when he read that after speaking about, his family and what he was going through, just demonstrating the power of unification, as we rise and really lean into the unity consciousness that we all need right now. So I see you have a teddy bear, but Dot, I'd like to show one more video, if that's okay, Scott.
Absolutely, please do.
This video, okay, so we had 3 guests from Ukraine, and one grandmother, elder Svetlana, who has been on our meditation programs a number of times now. This is not the first event we've held today. We've had several others. And she's been coming to each of our programs. She wants to be there for us. Just today, she's saying every time she hears the siren, she's jumping in and hiding in the bathroom. She cannot leave her apartment. She's elderly and she has a disabled husband. They can't evacuate. So, she's in this terrible situation, just very scared, but she's so bright. And whenever she comes to she's just so beaming. She talks of love. She talks of unity. She talks of, peace heroes. We're all peace heroes. We all need to be peace heroes. So today was very special because her granddaughter lives in Poland, is a student in Poland. So we had her on together, 2 generations, or is it 3 generations, the grandmother and the granddaughter together in the same room presenting. It was so moving. And I have a clip of the presentation that the daughter made today. And I think she represents the youth of Ukraine. So let's watch her, the clip that she created a video, and I think that video is just so beautiful. So this is from the actual program, a clip from.
I hope you will see it. And for the end, I want to say that now everyone is speaking the same language, the language of peace. Everyone is wearing the same color, the color of our country, the blue and yellow. Our flags is everywhere, and I'm so proud to be Ukrainian right now. Thank you, everyone.
My goodness.
Thank you so much, Irina.
Oh, there you go. I have to turn off the.
There are no
How
words.
do I turn
I'm
that
sure
off?
that Svetlana, your grandmother, will have
Help
some
me.
very powerful
Um,
words
back
with us.
I'll mute you for a moment, Fumi, and Dot and I'll chat while you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know how to turn.
So we then heard from, and I see that some of you are holding bears. I see Connie's holding a bear and a few others. And, we then went to Nina and Connie, Nina Meyerhoff, Children of the Earth. And, when 9/11 happened, Nina was at the United Nations. It was the International Day of Peace that year, 9/11. And they were about to ring the peace bell in the Rose Garden, and when the UN was evacuated, and Nina went down to what is now Ground Zero, spoke with the first responders and asked for a place in the armory to support the children, and gave all of the children, primarily teddy bears, but stuffed animals that they could hold and love while they were just so afraid, so scared, and many of them had lost their parents. And So since then, she's done this in Haiti and Syria and so many places where there is such need, and now has a teddy bear campaign for the children of Ukraine. And so she and James and others are at the border each day at the camps where the food and clothing and supplies are, and they are gifting teddy bears to the children. And we were I saw someone asked if we can see that. It's, as Nina shared, it's very challenging for these children, and they're so brave, and some of them have been interviewed, but we don't have permission to show them. So until that happens, we won't be showing the children themselves. But know that so many of the now thousands and thousands of children who are refugee status in Poland are receiving bears and stuffed animals, but particularly bears, that they can feel the love. And that's what Nina always says. This bear offers the love from all people around the world to the children of Ukraine. So it was just very, very, very moving.
So this has inspired me to go into my bedroom where this teddy bear was what my mother held as she passed away.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah, this is what, and when she was gone, I lived with her the last 6 weeks of her life in hospice. And she loved this teddy bear. And when she passed, she had both of her arms around this teddy bear. So I haven't had that thought about it for a while, to be honest. It's been up on one of my shelves. But so my mother's name was Ariel. In honor of my mother, in honor of these children, let's support the teddy bears and shelter for Ukrainian refugees. Here's the GoFundMe campaign. I just put the link into our Zoom room. I'll also put the link, or if Debbie's still with us, we'll put the link into our Facebook pages. Let's all support the teddy bears and shelter for Ukrainian refugees. Teddy bears and shelter. And so what a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
And thank you, everyone. What a beautiful program, and what a sacred circle.
Thank you.
Thank you both, ladies. I want to encourage you to go get some good rest. You have, I love, there's a song that Agape, we talked a lot about Agape tonight, that Ricky sings, which is Use Me, Lord, right? You know the Use Me song. You have been well used today. God has used you very well today, and I want to acknowledge that, so thank you so much.
Bless us into usefulness, Scott.
Absolutely.
Lest we pass thy labor.
I'm going to bring John Martin on. John is one of our absolute favorite guests. He's an incredible musical artist. And for John now, it would be 12:30 in the morning because he's all the way out in Georgia. John, I don't know how much of the show you've gotten a chance to see, but your music is so healing. And I was wondering if you would just play us a little serenade, and maybe a serenade for the children and for all the people that are suffering in Europe now.
Absolutely. Scott, I did want to say that while you were speaking of your mother, you had beautiful energies around you. So you may want to review that on the tape. It was very beautiful to see.
Oh my. Well, thank you. I just got chills when you said that.
I've been drawn to a scale type. It's called the Lydian mode, and it's very optimistic, but it's also yearns for clarity and resolution. And so I'm just gonna do a little.
Thank you so much. It's just beautiful.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, Scott. We have so much beautiful energies that are being sent all over the world, and you've been doing this important work for so long, and it's such an honor for me to be with you tonight. And thank you so much for your great work and every beautiful soul here tonight. It's just a great honor to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And say hello to our galactic friends. John has a very special relationship with our star family, and his ability to connect with them in such a loving way is such an inspiration to all of us.
Scott, they sent a beautiful heart-shaped cloud at my little park, which they always do, and I think that was their way of saying they will be gone for some time because they're on the other side of the world now with all of our beautiful family and in very war-torn places right now. And tonight, the beautiful two, which are two beautiful energies, came through, and it was just a lovely showing from our star family that they're with us and they want us to be at peace and to love each other.
Thank you, John. You're a beautiful emissary for them, and a beautiful bridge between our world and their world. It comes through in the softness of your voice and the beauty of your music. And we just lost our connection to John. So blessings to John. Maybe he just got beamed aboard. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. I see Omoshar is in Peru. Beloved brother Omoshar, who has blessed us with so much of his music over the past several months. So greetings, brother, all the way from Peru. How are your adventures going there? Oh, we can't hear you. No. Well, we are blessing you. Everybody's sending love to Peru and to Omoshar. And speaking of sending love, I want to send some love here to Terry Russo. You saw Terry a couple times earlier on the show. And Terry, if you pull up the camera so you can see more of you and less of the blue sky. There we go. Terry is one of our beloveds who's always with us every week, except for when she's doing her duty as a nurse. And she very unceremoniously, she and her team of nurses who relocated to be of support were unceremoniously relieved of their duties this week. And so, Terry, I want to thank you on behalf of all the people you've administered, all the people that you've provided nurturing and care for, that can't thank you themselves. But let's just take a moment, and all of us watching on Global Peace Tribe, and let's just thank Terry. And as we thank her, she represents all the nurses, all the doctors, all the hospital workers that have put their lives and their health, their mental health, their physical health, their emotional health on the line. Probably not spiritual health. I think you're pretty spiritually healthy. But who have really sacrificed to be of service. And I am sorry that you have been treated the way that you were treated this week. But we love you and we appreciate you. And let's just all bless Terry with maximum grace. Maximum grace for Terry Russo. Maximum grace for all hospital workers, all people in the healing field. Maximum grace. Thank you, Terry.
The nurses, thank you. And I told them that you were going to send prayers out to all. There's like 50 of us. So thank you.
Well, thank you. God bless you. All right. Dr. Brenda has returned. And Brenda, thank you for being with us this late at night. Is there anything you'd like to share before we complete with Fanny and Vegari?
I would hang out with you any time of the day or night, Scott, and with all of our global family. This is a time for us to gather and to hold with all our hearts this frequency of love and peace. And my grandmother used to say that for couples who are just getting married or who are struggling. She had this saying, your heart knows the truth. So it's a time to listen to our hearts, let our hearts be our guide. You know, the heart does have wisdom, and to tap into the wisdom of the heart and to share that generously, even if we can't be face to face with those who are in need. We can send, we all know this, we can send the frequency, send the love, and be part of the healing. And it circulates, the energy keeps circulating. It doesn't just dissipate. So let's circulate that love, that heartfelt love. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening to go deeper. And may I ask, make a request? My request is that we all stay with the process of awakening a world that is just and fair and loving for everyone.
Yes.
That this community above all, because this is the community that can shift the planet, that we stay with it.
Beautiful. Thank you. You know, Brenda, I don't know if you were watching, but on Unify, on the 222 program they did, they had Drunvalo Melchizedek on, and I've known Drunvalo forever, but he's not been around. It was like, wow, Drunvalo.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time.
And he actually said that he's been in meditation for 5 years. And this was like his first public appearance in a long time. But he spoke of this, that we have recently discovered that there is an energy field which we are all connected to, which is 1 billion times faster than the speed of light.
Wow.
And that it has to do with the speed of our thought, but not just like our mind thought, but a deeper level of thought that exists within the human brain. And it was interesting because honestly, as he was talking, it was kind of like talking to somebody who's tripping on acid, right? It's like, is this person like really tapped in, or is this person really tapped out?
That's not, this is what I was speaking to earlier. This is one of the great discoveries, the Salience Network. Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that he's bringing that forward also.
Yeah, well, and there it is. And I thought of it just now in what you were saying, that we are beginning to awaken to our oneness, and we are leaving the illusion of separation, the dream of separation, and in 1,000 ways, 1,000,000 ways, experiencing the oneness. And so this part of us, and when we drop into a meditative state, we can speak to our deceased ancestors. We can speak on some level to people on the other side of the world. And let's just collectively practice that and trust in it, and allow our imaginations to take over. You know, Einstein, one of the greatest minds of the last several hundred years, always spoke of the imagination, that the imagination is our most important tool, and that it is the gateway to everything that we are longing for. So let's open our imaginations and imagine the best.
Yes, thank you. And it's the energy that pours out through those channels when we're imagining things. We're not imagining in some sort of, you know, airy-fairy sort of way. We're actually sending energy and intention. And if we send it with the heart and the brain, it is such a powerful thing. We're entering that network, that net of Indra, that web of life. We're all entering it together with the same frequency of thought and energy. That's powerful.
Very powerful. Storm, I'm promoting you to panelist. Storm has an offering that she wants to make. So I just want to, when she comes on, Dr. Brenda, thank you again. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning and again tomorrow night. And again, I just want to let everybody know one more time, please, because we put this together at the last minute, literally, please join us and tell your friends. It's going to be a really important 90-minute way to complete our weekend of discovery and learning as we learn about invisible history, as we meet these amazing people, Cecile and Valerie Schoon, Lindbergh Porter, and Dr. Brenda. It's going to be another dynamic and very powerful conversation. But we haven't had time to promote it. So I'm sending out an email tonight after we hang up.
And it's such a beautifully done film. And one of the best parts, some of you know the very well-known jazz singer, Gregory Porter. Gregory Porter's composer did the music for this film, and it is amazing. The music alone is worth the listen. So we'll have clips of the film, the music. Valerie, who put her heart and soul on the line for a good year with all of her students from Florida State University, College of Motion Picture Arts, as I've learned to say, and they all worked really hard to bring this beautiful piece of work to us.
Well, thank you, Brenda, for making it happen, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
My pleasure. Love hanging with you, Scott.
Likewise, likewise. Well, we have a friend. I've seen Storm in the chat box, but I've never met Storm before. So welcome, Storm, to the
Thank
Awakening
you.
World.
And Storm is a guy's name too.
Well, there you are.
Surprise. Yes.
What do you have for us tonight?
I'm joining you from Greenfield, Massachusetts. And this is a piece that I put together of some of my original poems and a song, which I also wrote. Come, take a walk with me. Come, take a walk with me. It will set our hearts free. Come, take a walk with me. Come, sing a song with me. Come, sing a song with me. It will set our hearts free. Come, sing a song with me. Come, laugh and dance with me. Come, laugh and dance with me. It will set our hearts free. Come, laugh and dance with me. No nukes prayer. Let our peaceful protests carry to the world the words of danger first spoken by the shadows of the flowers burned onto the walls of Hiroshima. With Willie from the country and Tommy from the town, I used to play when I was young until the sun went down. We'd play of pirates, we'd play of pirates bold and of villains black. Yet when I would die, I'd get my life right back. With strange brews and medicines, they'd fix me fine as new. And the only wounds I got from playing war were but a scratch or two. Yet I've grown older now, and now I've fought with men, and still I wish that it weren't so, and I was back to then. No medicine for him in pain, no magic touch to pull the bullet from the thigh. Alone upon this darker land, I'll in this moment die. Catch the fire of my eyes and send it spinning rainbow-like around the room, as if such were the world, and you could send rainbows to Iran and Ireland, to Soweto and Afghanistan, to Nicaragua and Washington, D.C., to Portland, Oregon, and Ukraine. Rainbows whose pots are filled with missing people, alive and doing well. Rainbows to say no more floods from constant tears. Catch the fire of my eyes and send it spinning rainbow-like around the room, as if such were the world, and you could send rainbows into even the most secretive of prisons, as if such could lighten even the darkest of hearts. Come, shed a tear with me. Come, shed a tear with me. It will set our hearts free. Come, shed a tear with me. Come, say a prayer with me. Come, say a prayer with me. It will set our hearts free. Come say a prayer with me. Come find the light with me. Come find the light with me. It will set our hearts free. Come find the light with me. Come build a world with me. Come build a world with me. It will set our hearts free. Come build a world with me. Come take a walk with me. Come take a walk with me. It will set our hearts free. Come take a walk with me.
Thank you, Storm. And from there, we're going to transition right into Fanny and Vegari. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that wonderful piece.
Come with me, we'll set our soul free.
Yes, there's been so much love in the atmosphere from all of you this evening. And it always comes back to love, doesn't it?
Yes.
Our next song is called Take the Time to Love.
It's a little reggae music for you, so dance with us.
It's time your bliss. Oh, you know we're all in this together. Yes, we're all in this together. Yes, we can. 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 Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, we can. Tick tock. Time is ticking. It's been centuries. Will we really get it together? Because when we've got some love, we've got the spirit. When we've got some love, we've got the magic. When we got some love, magic is everywhere. When you got some love, when you got some love, magic is in the air. When you got some love, magic is everywhere. When you got some love. Take the time. Time is ticking. Take the time to love. You got to take the time. Take the time to love. Take the time to love. Before it's too late. Take the time to love. Take the time to love. Take the time to love. Take the time to We've got to take the time to love each other.
Wow. You guys are so beautiful. Thank you so much. And again, I want to remind everybody, they've got it, we can go get their Bandcamp stuff now. We got it happening. So please, let's go to support them on the Bandcamp, which I had pulled up here a moment ago. There it is.
And we got our beautiful song, our freedom songs there we did a few years ago. It's really actually a sensational album. It's beautiful, the vocals and the love we put behind. This is our baby, as we never had children, so this was our first baby.
What a beautiful baby indeed. And so, hey, let's all support them. Go and look at the total, $11.11. I love that number. And I'm gonna go get that as soon as we hang up here.
And then you can tip. You could do like a million, 100,000.
There you go.
Yes, let's be generous.
Let's
The
do that.
universe, the cosmic bank account is loaded.
Absolutely.
Love.
And let's all grab our teddy bears, whether it's in the form of a puppy dog or a beloved like Fanny and Vegari have each other, or Mischa, who's, holding himself. I'm going to go to gallery view for a minute so we can
Yeah, oh my
say goodbye